ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't miss this for the world, even if it is 2 in the morning here in the UK on the western side of the world. But I'll tell you what, we've got a juicy stream coming up for you right now. I'm going to be one of the commentators, the host for this one tonight. Jamming alongside me, he is across the pond. And I haven't held his hand in a little while because he haven't commentated in a bit. But Vicious, talk to me, my brother. How are you feeling? Talk to me.
First and foremost, I'm so happy to have you on the other side of this virtual screen, Jammers. It's been too long. Your expertise is very much so needed in the world, and hot damn, does it feel good to hear your voice, to be a part of this very special stream, right? The seeding stream has now commenced officially, coming in from a Japanese broadcast to you guys, giving you the English rundown of what's to come for this year's Big Dance, and I couldn't be more excited, right? I think there's a lot of us that have been kind of speculating around who is pretty much ready for CAPCOM Cup 12. You know, we've seen a lot of different tournaments throughout the year. We've seen all the World Warriors come together and a lot of character development. So it really is kind of exciting to see how this all pans out.
Yeah, it has been a long, competitive, strenuous and exciting journey for a lot of the players and probably us as viewers as well. But the culmination of everything competitive for Street Fighter 6 will be coming to a close very soon, early March. And you guys are going to find out what all these 48 players have been up to, but also who they'll be facing off. Because remember, there can only be one champion. There's a lot to get through in today's seeding stream, and hopefully you guys will stick along for the whole ride as myself and Vicious will guide you through. Really looking forward to this one, as you said.
Yeah, man, it's there's nothing more exciting, kind of like feeling the energy going into the competition, but also being able to see it like in full effect on the stream and also in person. Being able to see these players hopefully get their travel issues sorted out and make it there safely and in one piece over the Ryogoku Kokugikan. I am just like so ready for it. And at the same time, I really want to see what stirs up on the internet in regards to like character selection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know who is going to be up in arms and who is going to be cheering for their latest and greatest when it comes to like the character selection, but most of all, who finally gets to reap the rewards of the big millie. As it stands right now, 48 total players going into this year's Big Dance, 8 of them coming from the Premier, 6 of them qualifying via the Premier points. And of course, throughout the entirety of the season, we had the World Warriors going down in weeks after weeks of gruesome battles. We finally determined the big winners. And others, we've had a couple of qualifiers from EWC, the Esports World Cup of this year. We had the previous CAPCOM Cup 11 champion. However, we will put an asterisk on that specifically to talk about who has taken their place, as Kakeru obviously has retired. SFL, big news for them as well. The champions of the World Championship making it on to compose of the last and final 4 players going into this year's CAPCOM Cup 12.
Yeah, and that was the interesting one, right? Because Good 8 Squad won it at the SFL Worlds, winning SFL Japan, then winning the World Championships means they didn't have to go through that competitive chaos throughout the last season as most of the other players had to. So they were like working on SFL Japan this current season that's just gone and cooking up some other stuff, working on some tech, developing characters, as you said before, Vish, as well. That's going to be a huge thing when we actually go through these players as well. But the Premier winners and the Premier points, guys, well, we had a snippet of what the olden times were like in the offline scene, and we were able to get 14 players out of that. But hey, even if you had a really good regular season, that doesn't mean you're going to take the gold. So I think these guys, they could be biting their nails, they could be nervous and excitement, but it's going to be interesting because I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys will have their eyes glued to the screen to find out who they're actually going to be facing, because they have been preparing, but now they've got to laser in on the opponents in their respective groups. We're looking forward to that.
Right, and we get to break down all of the players and their means of qualification in terms of like their status currently, kind of keeping up with a lot of the events that kind of led up to where we're at today. But before we even get into those details, obviously this is the schedule you need to lock in on, starting from March 11th all the way through the 15th. That is what's going to go down. We have the first 3 days going into phase 1, where we get to check out the winners bracket right after we see what happens in the group stage. But for the most part, this is what you're going to be looking forward to during phase 1. Again, this is going to be a double elimination format, best of 5, going into all of the phases, or at least, sorry, going into this phase where we get to see who makes it into top 16 towards the finals. And then obviously we go through the losers bracket on the following day. Same kind of song and dance.
Yeah, this is super important as well, with especially leading into the phase 2 on the day 3 as well. And you're looking at how the tallies will work out as well. So basically the players will have to aim for top spots so they can just progress all the way to the top 16 and then work on the final day there. That's the ideal scenario. We've seen this in Esports World Cup, which we will bring that up in a little bit as well. But this is what happens as well. They will consider tiebreakers too. And as you can see, the top 16 leading to the final. So it is phase 1 going up with Group A. The winner of that will be going up against the, I think it's the winner of the phase 2 from Group D. So you can see it just go out there and pan out. This is going to be very interesting. And there will be a 3rd place match as well. So do keep an eye out for this and pay attention to your groups, honestly.
Yeah, so a little bit of a spin-up, right? Like we have some kind of like traditional senses of a tournament, and then also a little bit of like a mix-up coming in from like EWC where we go into phase 2, right? We want to make sure to differentiate like the differences here. So in phase 1, like, I know the slides had come at you really, really quickly. So again, 12 groups of 4 players. During this entire set of phase 1, during this double elimination tournament, again, we're getting the 12 big winners to proceed automatically into day number 4. However, in between, right, day 2 consists of like the losers bracket as well. However, in day 3, the 4 groups of those 3 players, having 12 players total, right, there's going to be a big round robin scenario going down. And this is what kind of goes on throughout that schedule. So again, group stage phase 1 backwards, going on Wednesday and then Thursday, and then Friday is going to be day 3, so on and so forth. There's going to be so much more going on in regards to these phases to break down later on.
Well, speaking of the breakdown, we're actually looking at the overview of the grand prize. $1 million will be crowning another $1 million champion at CAPCOM Cup 12, just like CAPCOM Cup 10 and CAPCOM Cup 11. And obviously there'll be a separate prize pool with SFL World Champions. But surprise, surprise, the announcement has been put on screen, everyone. The commentators or the talent squad, this is what's going to happen. They have got the full Japanese lineup here as well as the full English broadcast. And surprise, surprise, there are a couple of new faces on here. I got to give a big shout out to my boy Damascus. He's made it onto the lineup here and he'll be joining on the English side of things. And huge shout outs to Storm Kubo for making it on the Japanese lineup here. Oh, okay. This is important. Talk to him. Talk to him.
So again, we were talking about like the big things going into Capcom Cup, Street Fighter League as well. All of these tie into the Esports World Cup, right? For 2026, the top 4 of Capcom Cup this year, the champions of every division of Street Fighter League from JP, US, and EU, they're all automatically qualified into the big dance over at EWC this coming year. That's 16 players total. That is a huge amount of competitive integrity right there. I'm very excited considering like how heavy-handed all the champs are from each and every Street Fighter League. That is already kind of stacked.
Well, this is interesting because you notice with, obviously you were commentating it with St. Cola on the English side of things, you have Team Reject actually making it there. So Tokido, Fudo, Daigo, some of the biggest hitters in the FGC. Not only are they going to be part of SFL Worlds this coming month, but also they're going to be there for the EWC. So all the Daigo and Tokido fans and Fudo fans are going to be crying and laughing it up, just waiting to watch their guys. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to, right? But going into it, as we get ready for the actual group draw, this is what the structure and format is going to look like, right? The players are going to be divided into the groups, 20 offline tournament winners, all the World Warrior winners divided by the region. One of the biggest things that you notice here, right, you kind of see the World Warriors and their regions kind of specified in each and every one of these groups. One of the biggest things that we do have to highlight is that even if there's a group with the players from the same region, there will not be a change taking place. However, they are doing their due diligence and trying as hard as possible to spread out as many of the tournament winners as possible to make it as fair as they can for all these competitors.
Yeah, so just to give you a quick example, because Blard's qualified via points on the offline leaderboards, if he gets paired up with the Shaka 22, they're part of the same team, they're part of the same team at SFL US. If they're in the same group, we're literally strictly specifying this now. They can't really change that because they actually have done a strict seeding here as well. But looking at this, we do have the phase 1 bracket draw here. As you can see, just to repeat ourselves Again, 4 players in each group, and obviously the winner, that's what we're focusing on with day 1. The winner will advance to the final day, or top up day 4 for top 16 leading up to the CAPCOM Cup Championship. And in the losers bracket, the winner of that will be advancing to phase 2 in the round robin format. So all of these guys, they've got everything to play for, and they've got extra chances to kind of stay close and in the money for CAPCOM Cup 12.
Quite scary going into like the very first day, where you actually get to face some of the elimination processes, or at least some of the elimination matches between days 1 and days 2, going from winner side, going to loser side, all to bring it together for the big round robin part into day 3. As exciting as that is, I feel for the players, man. This is actually like, you gotta gun it for like the strongest performance possible. Obviously that's what everybody's looking forward to for CAPCOM Cup, but at the same time, it's like, you never know what you're gonna get when it comes to this lottery draw.
No, legit, honestly, and this is important as well. We do have ticket information up on the screen right now. So the offline viewing tickets for CAPCOM Cup 12 and the Street Fighter League World Championship is now on sale. Day 4 and day 5, word on the street is they're already sold out. So if you want to get a ticket, please head on over to the official website for more info here. But I'm telling you, these tickets were selling like hotcakes, man. I've got to tell you what. And this is super important as well. You can see it on screen there with more information. And I'm seeing there's a Capcom colors for Rashid. Is that right? I think so. Is that right?
That is correct. That's right. Rashid's going to be getting a brand new colorway. It's going to be EX1 for his initial outfit. Outfit number 1 is going to be given to the people that have bought the tickets for the viewing of CAPCOM Cup 12, for the finals tournament, for SFL's World Championships as well. There it is. We do get the full distribution in English, and we get to see the exact dates and how to actually go about doing so, right? I know everybody's been up in arms. This is what's they've been doing a lot in terms of like trying to make this shift for the appeal of everybody as much as possible. But if you guys want to check it out, the viewing platform is on SPWN. I believe it's Spawn on that QR code. But also, if you guys haven't done so already, right? You guys have been tuning in for a good amount of time now throughout the year on Capcom Fighters. There's a plethora of different channels both on YouTube and Twitch for the respective regions. If you guys haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, and make sure to comment on a lot of the things, a lot of the videos that you have seen to make your voice heard going into the upcoming season. And one of the biggest things going into the first 3 days, co-streaming is allowed for a lot of the big timers out there, those that have been enjoying their time with the Capcom Cup and following it very closely, or even for the casual audience that just want to stream it for the folks in their Discord with their buddies. You guys can do so for the first 3 days.
There's been a lot of questions asked about this one, but they have heard you, and they said co-streaming is allowed. But then, of course, on the 14th and 15th of March, I believe there is going to be the feature of you can actually watch the finals in the Battle Hub with the new mode installed recently, which that's actually pretty cool. I'm actually curious to kind of see how that will work. We're going to be in Japan talking about this, but it is going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. So, there we go. Live streaming with the trial at the Battle Hub there. And this is a trial, so there may be cases where the stream would be cut off several times. And again, the fact that like the developers have been able to put in these new features, not just for the game itself, but to help watch events in the game and test on it here is a blessing in itself. But then a blessing in itself as well is there's going to be new merch available at Capcom Cup 12. So you are coming down as a spectator. There will be shops plotted in and around the Ryugoku Goku Kikan, and then look, you can see the new jackets there. There's going to be a pillow. There's a passport case, which I might have to pick up. There's plenty of merch on deck there for you guys. So if you've got a little bit of spending money, come on. Oh, okay. Hamako's actually showing the Capcom Cup cushion right now.
I actually might want to get that. Last year was the Akuma one. I gave that to my nephew, and he loves it. But the jacket, though, I am very much so looking towards to the jacket. I know Graft has been doing a really great job in partnership with Capcom, developing a lot of different ideas and approaches towards like Capcom artwork. So I really love like the spin of things towards the merch. These are going to be heavily available throughout the event itself. I know the way that they distribute it. Oh god, yo, look at that patch. Tell me that's not godlike, Tell me that's not godlike though. So
can we see the back of that? I want to see the back of that.
It was Chun-Li on the back of it, actually. She was showing it off just a little bit. They have like a stock per day, right? So even if it sells out on a certain day, you just gotta come back tomorrow, the following day, and they'll have like a brand new stock. They try to split it and divvy it up as much as possible, as to make it as fair as possible to like as many of the casual audiences as possible. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody kind of like get their hands on the brand new merch. I still have my jacket hanging on my door right now, and I always have it in sight because it's mad comfortable and I love it. But also, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the more comfortable, casual kind of merch being brought to you in partnership with Mizuno. So something that I haven't really been able to see before, but a lot of like the Capcom Cup 12 graphics have been coming out. A lot of the like Street Fighter League Japan, EU, and US artwork has been coming out with a lot of collaborations thus far. I'm really looking forward to at least like checking this out and possibly snagging myself a couple of hats, a couple of shirts, etc.
Yeah, I can definitely see myself with the zip hoodie there because I'm a huge fan of my hoodie. Been upgrading my wardrobe a little bit recently, but I still got room for 1 or 2 hoodies and maybe a nice little Capcom Cup tee there as well. But obviously, big shout out to all the collaborations involved with the CAPCOM Cup itself. And you can see on here as well, big shout out to all these collaborative teams here as well. All these teams were actually involved in Street Fighter League in some way, shape, or form. You are actually able to check out these team booths even if you don't have it's accessible without a ticket. Sorry, I got my tongue tied. But this is super important. There's going to be plenty of stuff for you to check in and around the stadium there in terms of merchandise and just seeing what's involved in the world of Street Fighter is really good to see.
And of course, one of the biggest sponsors that we've seen coming out of Japan, Galeria, has been providing high-end PC setups for not even just the events of Street Fighter League, but also a handful of different like esports events that have been going on throughout Tokyo. I've noticed this piece of machinery being involved in Esports High School over in Shibuya. A buddy of mine actually runs this PC as well to stream and play Street Fighter 6. It is definitely the other real, but it's also the real deal when it comes to like the big partnerships that have been going on in the realm of the fighting game community itself and esports. So big shout out to Galeria for being a very pivotal part of the FGC this year and for many more years to come, hopefully.
Of course, as well, you can see it on your screen right now. There is a campaign for Street Fighter 6 the model, and the original design postcard and screen background will be included, and I believe it is up until March 31st, 11 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So again, I repeat, 11 p.m. Japan Standard Time on March 31st. So you've still got a month and a half to kind of get in on the action here and be excited for that. So again, you can see the amount of work they've been putting into it. There you go. Hamako is... Oh! That's cold.
Tell me that's not fire.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Because I did like the Akuma and Bison on the back of the Capcom Cup 11 ones, but this one... Oh.
Can I critique something real quick, Jammers? So last year, it looked a little bit like an enlarged screen grab. This one feels like it's specifically designed for these types of jackets in terms of like the way the ratio is, like the aspect ratio is in regards to like the framing of the artwork. Hold on. That bottom detail too of it saying Street Fighter on the interior of the jacket is kind of cold. By the way, that's kind of cold.
Okay.
There's a lot.
I see that.
There's definitely a lot going on with the artwork, and I'm a fan.
I'll tell you guys this, right? Vicious is the fashion police, so if he's approving of it, we're good to go. Anyway, what we're good to go with is these 48 players that have qualified for CAPCOM Cup 12. You'll be seeing them in less than a month's time. You can see it there, as Vicious alluded to earlier. The Premier and Premier point section with all the players that done in the offline circuit. The World Warrior Guy, 28 people qualifying from their respective regions. Of course, the EWC defending champion Xiaohai is there. And of course, you have the Angry Bird taking over for Kakeru because he will be the placement Kakeru. Hopefully he's doing well. But we are actually going to be going through the order of looking at the Premier tournament winners first, then the Premier point leaderboard, guys. I believe we should be doing the special guest and then we'll respectively breaking down the World War. I believe that's how we should be doing it and checking out the players here.
Sounds about right to me. Already kicking off some of the information. Who doesn't know Mena RD by now? If you guys have been following any sense of competitive Street Fighter, you know who this man is. He's been a part of the topic of the GOAT when it comes to Street Fighter history. I know yourself, Rob TV, as well as Senkola. Sometimes Brian F will get thrown into the mix in regards to who actually is the GOAT. This guy is easily in that conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love it. What's that? Look, he's a lightning in a bottle for me. He's literally a lightning in the bottle for me. Mena RD, because it is a very rare occasion. And he still needs to get a Capcom Cup in Street Fighter 6, who's also searching for a Capcom Cup title. He has to be in your top 5 Street Fighter 6 players of all time. He's been shifting characters. He's been developing his mentality. He said, some things aren't fun without winning. If you checked out the Reject documentary these guys did leading up to SFL World SFL Japan Championships, you can see it there. Laser sharp ground game, surgical combos. The precision machine sets his sight on the Capcom Cup title, and he came 3rd last year, and he wants to aim higher, because if you're 3rd, you ain't a winner, and this man is a winner. Looking forward to what Lashar cooks up this year.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to call, right? With how much momentum he's had in the first 3 majors that he's won going into Street Fighter League Japan. It really is going to be so hard to call going into the final big dance. But NL, talking about consistency, man. I love seeing him around in regards to like his presence on Street Fighter League, but also he had quite the presence over in the States very, very early on. If you had noticed his positioning when it came to some of these big premier tournaments, he had quite the running, right? He was involved in CEO, Combo Breaker, definitely involved in EVO as well. Did a pretty solid job over at EWC, and just overall keeping himself like present in regards to like point accumulation thus far. NL, I'm looking forward to seeing who, I want to say who he's going to be bringing to the table, right? Although it's his Akuma, he still has a couple of other characters under his sleeve.
Well, I mean, speaking of characters under his sleeve, it is the Blink Respawn winner with Fudo, family man Fudo. We got to give it to him, because when I watched this documentary with Fudo in it, he said, I have a greater purpose now that I have a family, and he's coming for everybody's juggler with that Ed, with that DJ. And I tell you what, he's always been one of my sleeper picks for Capcom Cup, but he always somehow finishes in and around 9th place. And because he's here, and you will see him in SFL World Championships, I think he's got more of a point to prove. So I think there might be a lot of people looking to avoid Fudo, but then you want to avoid some of these young guns, don't you, Vicious?
Personally, I don't want to fight any of these guys, but if I had to choose, Mickey would probably be one of them. Probably be one of them, I should say. Had an amazing run over at EVO this year, right? A hallmark run with that Cammy. His first time over at EVO, being able to qualify into the Cup via that tournament at only 17. Insane. With a big finish going into EVO. So I'm really kind of curious. He was a part of Street Fighter League US this year, right? Wasn't able to like fully shake things up over there, but he's also been kind of like practicing more so on the side of his home region, being a part of like the big events out there as well.
Speaking of home regions, this young man here, Sahara, part of Good 8 squad, he qualified for Capcom Cup with Ultimate Fighting Arena with that Ed, arguably the strongest character in the game according to the Japanese community. But after he qualified, he decided to do his own scene dirty and win World Warrior 3 and 4 and still stay sharp here. He's been cooking up. I've seen him play some Sagat, I've seen him play some Akuma, but it's very interesting to see what it comes up. But speaking of a Sagat, he's changed the game, Vicious. He's changed the game.
Is that my man Nagoya-kun coming in from Evo, France? That's crazy. Is that young Blas stepping up to the plate? I'm calling him Nagoya-kun going forward. Honestly, like there's no way I'm not going to do it. But he has really shaped the way the character plays. And I'm talking about Sagat. Technically, he kind of did the same thing with Ryu, but he is the defining player for the character Sagat. And I kid you not, he is rocking everybody's boat internationally. He is staying sharp. He has proven that he is more than ready to take on everybody at Capcom Cup, especially with that 2nd place finish last year.
But only 2 years younger than him. I wasn't even playing games this good when I was that age, but it is him now. He did win the Fight Club in China, the last premier event on the offline circuit here, and he has got one deadly Ryu, deadly Luke, and it looks like, according to the stat sheet, it is correct because he's put Akuma down there as well. One of the MR phases, he got all 3 of those characters to 2400 MR. And he's figured out something about Drive Rush that I think only people under the age of 16 have figured out. So I'm actually very curious to see how far he goes and where we see youth versus experience. So if we do get a chance, when we do see Hinao's group, if we can shed some light. If not, I'll wait till we're at the Cup so we can talk about it in more detail. But hey, we got to talk about your boy Vicious. Let him know.
Yo, he is coming fresh from a big W just a couple of hours ago over at Genesis. And I want to say it's not the W he wanted, but still second place, just falling short to Goichi. He's still looking rather sharp. Majority of the games he's played, although it's not updated on the sheet, has been Ryu. So he will have a Ryu ready and willing to throw down this year at Capcom Cup. Again, being able to qualify the way that he did, it's no doubt that he's going to be bringing a plethora of different characters. And speaking of different characters, Momochi's been doing the same thing. He's been practicing a lot of JP. He's actually qualified via Premier points in second place under Punk. But it's still the same sharp Momochi that you're all well used to at this point if you've been following him for a long time. He's got Ed under his belt still. He's got C-Viper just in case, kind of mess around a little bit. But I feel like Ed and JP have been his main 2 primary picks thus far.
Well, I mean, speaking of someone who was consistent when his character's a little bit off course, it is Kobayan, and I think this guy is going to be a heavy hitter, no pun intended, and a household favorite, simply because he's playing Zangief, and this guy has been trying to get into the Cup for a few years, and lo and behold, has he done it. 3rd place on the Premier points, and he has to be extra meticulous with his matchups because he's going to be playing one of the weakest characters in the game. Someone who shifted from one of the weakest characters in the game, quote unquote, is Ryukichi. He's built his arsenal. He's got the Mai now. He's got the Ed. He's using Ken as well. But I tell you what, man, this guy's impressed me throughout this year alone. And I've been loving his streams as well. I'm not sure if you've been catching up with him, Vicious.
I've been seeing a lot of his personal streams. I haven't been able to catch up on some of the events he's been participating in around Japan, but I think his Mai has been very, very sharp from what we've seen over at Street Fighter League. I do want to touch up and see how his Ed is looking right now, but moving over to another person who has changed over to a new set of characters, or at least one set of characters, I should say. JP has been the pick for Dual Kevin. Once he's surrounded by a bunch of Zangiefs, best believe this is going to be the character that he's going to resort to. I do believe we saw him over at Frosty Faustings taking down the team tournament with this combination of characters with his teammates as well. So I'm very curious to see it. I mean, look at this. He's already surrounded by 2 Zangiefs in this picture alone. Best believe he's going to have that JP ready.
He has to, man. And it looks like he's been enjoying the JP as well. But having 2 high technical characters like Rashid and JP and his brain's not muddled up, dropping the combos of the set play. I tell you what, man, full credit to Dual Kevin, how he's progressed and matured over the years. But someone who has matured beautifully into Street Fighter 6 Legacy player, coming with the Zangief and Marisa, is Itabashi Zangief. He was in Capcom Cup 11, unfortunately didn't make it out of the groups. Now, he did come 9th at EVO Japan, and I think EVO Vegas as well. But the reason he's here, I got to bring this up. I'm sorry, everyone, but I got to bring this up. He done my boy Ending Walker dirty. He had the same amount of points as Ending Walker, but he had better results. So he took the offline premier spot, but it's good to see him here. He's got a ton of fans, so we got to give it to him. But we got to move on and see our special guests that qualify for the Cup. Ain't that right, Vicious?
That's absolutely right. The only person to do it back-to-back EWC championships. Funny enough, he could have gone for a 3rd title. He got 2nd over at City of the Wolves. But we're talking about Xiao Hai being able to take down really, really consistent results. This is actually kind of insane. Wait, I'm tripping. Let me retract that statement. He did win City of the Wolves, and then he won Street Fighter this year. I'm sorry, it's a little bit late for me. But Xiao Hai qualifying via EWC with a very big "what are you standing up for" moment, called out by Ringe and Yipes, man. I'm very excited to see how he's going to perform with that Mai. And then Angry Bird coming into it as the Capcom Cup 11 qualifier because of the fact that Kakuru couldn't make it. 2nd and 3rd place, respectively, Blaz and Lashar have already qualified through the Premier. So up next after that, Angry Bird placing in 4th. He was the one that qualified qualifies through.
So he was actually not sure of his competitive career this year because he took a step back for a few reasons. He was still playing and he was learning Ryu at the same time, but then the world blessed him and said, hey, we want you to continue playing. And he picked things up. And you actually saw his Ryu in SFL EU, but then obviously in the late stage of things, he went back to the Kuma and showed us why he's one of the best in the business. 4th place at CAPCOM Cup 11. Some of the world's best only took him down by the wayside. But he's coming here with a vengeance. He's won EVO 2023. Can he get a CAPCOM Cup under his belt? That's the big question mark there for Angry Bird. I've got to talk about this guy because he's been quiet for a little while. Maybe not in Japan. He's been quiet because he's only appeared in about 3 or 4 offline events. He's been cooking up some new tech with that Rashid. I've been keeping an eye on some things. He still has some of the highest practice mode hours recorded on Street Fighter 6. So I'm really looking forward to see what Gachikun cooks up in the Capcom Cup 12. But then we got to look at this another anomaly here, right, Vicious?
Yeah, another one could be said in regards to Pugera, right? He has a handful of different characters that he's been going through, not only in Street Fighter League, we saw him in the playoffs, but also on his streams, right? It's kind of a toss-up as to who he's going to pick for certain characters or who he's going to have ready going forward. But as we progress, Kawano, man, he has been so sturdy with his Akuma, and surprisingly so, still sticking with his character. And I think he swapped over to Mai just a little bit, but in terms of like tournament mode settings, it's going to be the Akuma. Then, of course, YC Mochi making it through via the SFL World Championships. He is still going to be rocking that Dalsum, as he should, because him and Torimeshi have been the only ones really innovating that character within Japan. So I'm very excited to see one of the old heads continuously make it into the big stages. In particular, YC Mochi. I've been watching him for a very, very long time. And I did misspeak earlier, by the way. Xiaohai did get second over at City of the Wolves against Goichi. Let me fix my face. I just wanted to put it out there. But him going into EWC this year, obviously got the big W, hence why he qualified. But yeah, those 4 contenders coming in from the SFL World Championships, Gachikun, YC Mochi, Pugera, and Kawano, all are going to be very much so keeping their strategies safe to the chest when it comes to character selections and certain matchups to be held.
Well, speaking of which, we're going to transition over to the World Warrior qualifiers here. Now, we got he's UK. He's London born and bred. We'll take him. I've got his passport. I know what his details are like. Lex is going to be representing. They put the US, but they put the K. Remember, K comes for S, so you can put the UK there. It's okay. But he's going to be coming to CAPCOM Cup 12 with the Guile here because he actually got the most consistent results there because the UK was a super region. But then joining him as well, we'll get there in a minute. It should be Ending Walker, which won the regional final. And it's interesting because they were both on the same team for Street Fighter League EU and almost were able to clutch it out, but MIP were able to take it over him. Now, you can see it there. Britain's prodigy right there. Undefeated in SFL Europe the regular season. The only time he lost, I believe, was to Angry Bird. I think that was the only time he lost. I have to double check the stats. But he's come ready. I was with Problem X the other day hanging out. I said, so what's going on? I want to be a fly on the wall with you guys' conversations. But he said, we're making sure he's ready. We've seen him 5-0 Mena in EWC. So Lord knows what they're cooking up for the Cup and what their preparation will be from this point onwards.
Yeah, I wonder if, depending on like the matchup, if it's going to be the Ryu, if it's going to be the Ed, does he have something else ready and prepared? I know he was also participating in a different stream not too long ago, but moving on to Kills You, I feel like this is all of your region right now, Jammers. Like looking at this list, like this is all you all over it. But I love seeing Kills You and his current consistency right now, right? He had qualified via the World Warrior, via France Monaco. His transition is actually one to kind of like really talk about, right? He's finally jumped the gun off of Cammy going into the My Train and actually has found exponential progress going into all of the tournaments that he's been a part of.
Yeah, and then we've got Diver coming up next, coming out of the Spain-Portugal region. This is exactly how he qualified last year for the Capcom Cup, but didn't perform as well as he wanted to. But he's coming back with a vengeance now. Ed's been further optimized. He's got more knowledge on the game. So I think he's become a real heavy hitter within the European region. I haven't really been checking his practice regime, but I'm pretty sure if you're coming to the Cup, you should be as ready as can be. Now here comes... His old nickname in SFL was the Rizzler. he didn't resent anyone, so he has to bring that nickname over to the Capcom Cup. Now, what he has got the jury, but once he swapped over to Mai, he was a lot more efficient. He was able to overthrow Takamura. He won plenty of the ranking events in the World Warrior leading up to the regional final. He had to overtake Takamura again, but he's ready. And he did say he really wants to be interviewed at CAPCOM Cup 12. I'm trying to make sure the team doesn't interview him because I'm very worried about what Gen Z lingo he's going to give them. And I really don't want him to do that to the Japanese crowd. But he's super excited to go, and he actually can't wait to be in Japan and play his best.
I can't wait to force Ryan Hart to do all the translations for that. Like, you have like the two big separation of generations plus the language barrier. We'll talk about that another time. Yon Angel coming in from World Warrior Germany. I've actually been able to watch him play and kind of study his JP. He is so creative when it comes to not only his pressure, but also like the mix he presents with some of the departure setups that he's had. He also kind of strays away from like the normal like level 2 setups that we've seen like from Japan a bunch of times over, but like his overall presence with this character is quite the nuisance. I'm actually really excited to see coming in. I didn't realize that he was now in Germany for like the longest time, to be quite honest with you. I was like, wait, I've seen this name plenty of times in like different regions before.
Well, if you thought his JP was exceptional, let me show you the best JP in Europe with my guy, Juicy Joe. He knows that the juice is worth the squeeze, and he's going to be returning to the Capcom Cup, and he will be in SFL World with Team NIP as well. This guy, his philosophy, his mindset, and just his energy as a young player has been fantastic. And you know what? He garnered a massive fan base after his performance to get to top 8 last year. Obviously losing to Angry Bird. I think he lost to Angry Bird twice in the top 8. But he's going to be looking to rectify that, getting out of the groups and getting a better position as well. And shout outs to his brothers as well. His brothers are massive supporters of watching him play. One of his brothers actively plays with him at high level, JNS with the Dalsim. But Juicy Joe, he's been cooking. Right, he's been cooking something. You saw his performance. He was key. He came in clutch for Team NIP in SFL EU. He's going to have to bring that back to his individual performances. But we do know the bird of bigs, or the biggest of birds. He's here. He's coming back. Oh, hold on. He said... It says he's playing Sagat. No way he put down Sagat is playing.
I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't been able to keep up with him on his personal streams. I haven't been able to see the last couple of instances where he was performing with said character. The way he had qualified, obviously, was from the Middle East World Warrior. He had to fight against Hamoud, his Habibi, going into it. And it was Rashid versus mine. It was pretty convincing, right? So I'm not too sure if the Sagat pick is going to be something that's going to be beheld during the event itself, and for what matchup specifically, because I think his Rashid is still very much so top notch. But if it says it on the graphic, I'm inclined to believe it.
I'll tell you guys this before we move on to JBM. I had lunch in Abu Dhabi with Big Bird not too long ago, and I got to drive around in that car everyone was hating on me for. It's a beautiful car, by the way. Just letting you guys know. Anyway, JBM, South Africa's hero, he returns to the cup once again. Now, he had a legendary set against Tokido, and actually this is a fun fact. I think our most viewed video in fighting game history might actually be him versus Tokido in South Africa. It's got over 2 million views. I genuinely think as a match video, he might have the most viewed match of all time, but at least Street Fighter 6 anyway. I'd have to double check that. But he's got the Terry ready, and he is coming to make sure he gets out of the group this time, because he had a good chance, but he fumbled it, and he knows that because I spoke to him at SFL EU, but he's ready. But now we've spoken about my region. We now got to talk about the Central and South Americans. First up, talk to us, Vicious. Not Pedro.
Not Pedro, right. I actually got the luxury of being able to watch him throughout this season and also see how he had qualified. Obviously, he had qualified via World Warrior Brazil, but he's made plenty of stops within the States, showing off that cannon. Now I'm actually kind of curious. I haven't been able to see his Sagat play competitively. However, with the way that he's been practicing with a lot of the Central and South American contingents too, I'm more so thinking it has to be like the Sagat coming through. I'm very much so convinced that he is a very, very solid Sagat player. Going into it though, yo, Kaba, what else can we really say about Mena RD's brother? Well, not by blood, but by heart and soul.
No, legit. He's a stalwart in the Dominican community, and he's one of the best Gao players in the world. He learns a lot from the other famous Gaos with Lex, Knuckledoo, Higuchi as well. But you can't forget about this man. He's had some good results, and he's made sure he sticks at the top level and goes toe-to-toe with some of these guys, even if he doesn't get statistically the results that he wants. But he's coming here again with a purpose, and he's got double the trouble to do because he will be with Bandits in SFL Worlds as well. But here's a hidden gem, Armor KOF. I haven't heard too much about him, but he's got a DJ, which means he means business.
It's a pretty big deal, right? He had a shot to go into and qualify CAPCOM Cup last year. He had to face off against Grand Todokai in the, I believe, Central America West Regional Finals. However, going into this year, he had changed it all up upside down, right? His finals versus Destroy Gods was 3-0 for him to qualify. And I gotta say, man, he was looking insane with that DJ. So I'm actually kind of curious. He sharpened it up from year 1 into year 2, or I guess year 3, I should say. And now that he's finally qualified, I think he's going to be ready for it. He's had quite the run for all of his World Warriors, like within top 4 every single time, and he's won 2 of them.
Well, speaking of someone else who's emerged from their region, usually I'm used to seeing another name come out of this region, but now we've got a new name representing Mexico, and that will be Lugabo. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if I have butchered the name. But he's come with the Kimberly, which means he's going to upset a lot of people. And I hear he's very young as well. Young and fun, playing Kimberly. That is a recipe to ruin someone's day at CAPCOM Cup. I'm really looking forward to what this guy done after his consistent results with his World Warrior.
Yeah, most definitely, right? I've seen only like a handful of like his games, mostly just World Warrior, but I've wanted to study a little bit more, which is why I'm glad we'll have a little bit of downtime after this. But one person that has genuinely impressed the hell out of me, Big Shaka, qualifying via South America East from his World Warrior as one of the Dalsim premier players. Those of you that have been tuning into Street Fighter League US had the luxury of being able to get introduced to this man. When I came into it with Tasty Steve and Ringe and Rob TV, I was thinking to myself, how is Shaka going to perform in this pool of sharks? Easy. He's going to beat the hell out of him, which he did. He had actually a phenomenal run, better than most rookies that join SFL US, with a character that is still heavily underrepresented.
Well, you can see it there. This is another name. I was watching one of the Japanese commentators do a breakdown of some of these players, and this is where he really went into Tashi's representing Venezuela, using a DJ, very similar to Armor KOF. Now, he's sponsored by 2Game. We also know who's sponsored by 2Game, which means your information network is pretty big, and you're not here for no reason. So, this is another guy I have seen as a sleeper pick. Young, he's ready. And remember, we saw last year, Limestone. He took a surprise result against Mena RD. What's to say that Tashi cannot do the same thing against someone of the veterans in CAPCOM Cup 12? Speaking of veterans, though, talk to him.
What else can we actually say about my man Knuckledoo? Right, qualifying via World Warrior for US Canada East. He had made that transition over to Mai. He had fully locked in. He put away all of the Pokemon cards for Street Fighter League US and for the continuation of his road to CAPCOM Cup 12. He said it on stream. I'm not making it up. He stopped pulling packs, and then immediately after, I think it was like 2 or 3 months afterwards, he opened a couple of packs, but who's to really judge him? Knuckledoo is easily one of the more like defining characters that we have in the FGC, right? One of the premier players, one of the most talented players that we could ever ask for within his region. I think he's still pretty much sturdy with the Mai up until this point with the handful of different events. He was also at Frosty's, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Just a Kid, formerly known as Just a Kid, I should say. It's full-on Jack now. The Stair Master is what they're calling him now in Japan. You know that?
You give this guy too much camera time, it gets to his head, and then you kind of live off that personality you've kind of created for yourself. I don't blame him. If you're good and they put the camera in front of you, live it up. He's doing it. He's bringing the jury. He's brought the Myers back up as well, but he wants to make sure he performs better than he did last year. Now, this is an interesting name because he qualifies via US, Canada West. And the last time he was at CAPCOM Cup, I was actually there in attendance. When I actually sat down and thought about it, I was actually there in attendance. So it's actually good to see Chris Tatarian returning to the Cup. Loyal to Ken, he's coming back with a vengeance, Vicious.
He is taking down other Capcom Cup competitors, even within the realm of this year, right? We've had JB, who's been a part of the big stage, Nephew, both within the realm of their respective World Warrior runs. And they were very convincing Ws, by the way. This man, Chris Tatarian, had also taken the opportunities to travel out to Japan, study under Momochi and a handful of other players coming in from the Bandits camp to ensure that he is ready for not only that ridiculous finals run for US Canada West, but also for Capcom Cup, and also being a significant part of SFL for the Bandits camp. Now, moving into even more of the World Warrior qualifiers, coming in from Asia and Oceania. First and foremost, VX Bao. Listen, man, I don't know what characters he's going to be bringing up every single time. You can see it right there. M. Bison, Ed, Mai, all very well-rounded. But I feel like he hasn't found his big shining moment just yet, right? He's been dominant, sure, in his region over in Asia for the points. But I want to know what he's going to do now to fix, I guess, his strategies, or at least like what he's going to be bringing, what type of presence he's going to have with these characters in the lieu of the other Eds, the other Mai's going forward.
Well, bear in mind with VX Bao, just quickly, he actually didn't make it out of groups last year because of a game differential with Broski. Shout out to my boy Broski. So he's going to be looking to change that this year. But he is a real world traveler, gallivanting the world. He hadn't need to gallivant the world this time around because he could stay at home in the comfort of his own home and qualify there. Is man like Jawa using the Mai. I was actually surprised when I saw his name qualify because he is a very strong player, but the Chinese scene has stepped up immensely throughout Street Fighter 6. And there are names that overshadow his name, but the fact that he emerged victorious there and was able to qualify is really beautiful to see. And he done it via the regional final. So his consistency and his persistence with the experience of 10, 15 plus years in Street Fighter alone, that's going to be something that people can't sleep on.
And this was kind of like a half and half, right? Because you got Rain Pro over in your side of the pool every so often, your side of the pond, I should say. But technically coming in from Hong Kong, right? He had actually qualified via World Warrior Asia East. He had to face off in the slew of different World Warriors there, including Hot Dog. He has been in that grand finals, for the last 2 weeks of the Asia region, if I'm not mistaken, and had qualified via the points. Just so dominant as well. He also had to face off against Mickey, if I'm not mistaken, during the very first one. But in terms of his overall performance over at the World Warrior, it's been a very sturdy average of first place, first to third.
Rain Pro's a serious competitor, man, so don't sleep on him. But also from his hometown as well is Hot Dog returning to CAPCOM Cup. Now, he has been practicing Sagat recently. Myself and Vicious are going to sound like parrots here because a lot of the community are practicing Sagat in preparation for the Cup. But his main character is M. Bison. He had a crazy match in Group A against Punk last year, but he's coming back and making sure, again, another player who wants to outperform what he did last year and hopefully get into the big money. But this guy, I've been keeping an eye on him because I play a certain secret agent in Street Fighter myself.
He's so sick, Jammers.
Dude,
brother, his C Viper is mad aggressive. He's got some crazy setups too that are so difficult to contest against, bro. When he dishes out damage, he makes sure it hurts, and he has all the Twitter tech rolled up into one bunch. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm also studying the hell out of this guy because I'm also playing the same secret agent. I'm very much so excited to see Dak Horgi represent this character, C Viper, and also representing himself from South Korea.
Because he's playing a volatile character, it's a double-edged sword here for me. Because I need to see who he's going to be paired with. That's my biggest concern with him. But hey, he's going to be representing Korea there, South Korea specifically. So I'm very excited to see what he does with C Viper. But hey, this guy, I love it. I was watching his stream when he qualified, and he had no idea that he qualified after he won. But it is Higuchi. Look, he's a veteran at this point. We've been watching him since he's probably 17, 18. He's now in his early mid-20s, and this guy, he redefines solidity. And the fact that he done it through the hardest region to qualify with the World Warriors Super region for Japan, you will be seeing Higuchi in his first ever CAPCOM Cup. Can you believe that we're saying that? His first ever CAPCOM Cup appearance. And does he want to make it a memorable one? Well, I'm sure he'll show us when the time comes down to it.
Yeah, I still remember watching that replay, and I was getting kind of emotional for him because, yeah, like as much as he was in disbelief, all the other commentators are like, "Yes, really, you've made it." They were trying to like make like side comments, and I thought it was like a lovely, really wholesome time watching that stream, but also. So I never realized that, like, I followed this guy for a very long time on Twitch. I forgot who he was using initially, but watching him, like, transition over to Terry, that's what it was, right? So I had found this Terry stream randomly, but I couldn't read the letters on it. I didn't realize that was the same guy I've been following for so long. Kincho, representing himself over from the World Warrior events. These were insane. You were talking about it earlier, right? One of the hardest regions to qualify out of. He had done it against Tori Meshi, right? Beating the brakes off of them with Terry. And I was, you know what? I was like, yo, everything that he shows off on stream, he's very transparent about like what he's practicing and what characters he's preparing for. I'm very happy to see him on the big stage. I have never really seen him at like a big time event. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs.
Another name we got to see who's going to be interested to see how he performs. He returns to CAPCOM Cup once again, representing Singapore. Beautiful country, by the way. If you haven't been there, please go and check it out. It is an absolutely beautiful country, one of the best airports in the world. But it is bravery. He's coming back to the Cup. Now, normally when we talk about Singapore, we think of Brandon, we think of Sian. But bravery is the guy that's always showing up at the Cup in recent times, Vicious. So we can't keep sleeping on this dude. His playstyle, one of the most explosive, one of the most aggressive guys we have in the scene, and sometimes that does let him down, but it's a surprise a few people. But speaking of surprises, I think this guy is the biggest surprise of them all. Word on the street is, coming from South Asia, is Raihan, I believe that's how you pronounce it. He's using modern Elena. That's what we saw when he qualified. But who really knows modern Elena?
I couldn't tell you, not like one single fact about modern specifically, right? In terms of the Elena choice, I'm very excited to see him play because his biggest competitor was also a CAPCOM Cup qualifier seat, Anik, right? There have been multiple instances where they had to face off against each other over at their World Warrior region, and it was easily in C Anik's favor up until the moment of the grand finals where he busted out the big Elena in back-to-back big W's against both, like, I think it was Akuma and Bison, so very excited to see it. Who is that model up on my screen? Yo, Travis Styles. I'm very happy to see that he had qualified towards the latter half of the year. Easily one of the most like entertaining people to watch in terms of like the tournaments they hold out over in the Oceania region. I love the fact that he's also transitioning over to his Chun-Li, obviously extremely sturdy, but seeing him have fun with his character, it feels great. I love seeing him in back-to-back CAPCOM Cup. Well, not back-to-back, but just another CAPCOM Cup performance.
Yeah, his last appearance was CAPCOM Cup 10, and of course he was there. He needs more firepower now, and he's got the firepower. He lost to Seoul last year, I think, for CAPCOM Cup, or qualified for CAPCOM Cup. But this is what it is turning out to be. Look at that, 13 players are representing Japan on home soil, by the way. That's the most important thing I'm going to mention here. 13 players on home turf. So the noise from the crowd in that arena is going to be erupting. But there are fans of each and every player here from around the world. Ending Walker has a massive fan base in Japan. Blast, that is ever so growing. Juicy Joe, ever so growing. The Birds, they're with Tokido, and Daigo and Fuda, they're associated with them. So a lot of these guys have got Japanese fans, but international fans as well. So really looking forward to seeing the energy that's coming into it. But Vicious, I believe we got word from the voice of reason as to what we're waiting for. Is that right?
Oh, man. It's definitely lottery time. It's actually going to be a gacha mode on, starting with Hamiko. Now, this is the best part about our jobs, is that now the internet can't go after us in terms of any sort of death bracket that happens. Shout outs to our predecessors, Rob TV, Brian F, my man Ringe. I know you guys had to handle it, and I'm glad that you did the way you did. And obviously the energy is missed. But now now you know you guys can all blame Aru and Hamiko and the entire JP production if there's a group of death, right? So thank you guys for taking the initial sacrifices, and your work is definitely missed and appreciated. That is for sure.
That's crazy. How empathetic or how sympathetic of you. He's like, yeah, I understand, painful job, but it's your fault, not mine. Anyway.
But this is the breakdown, right? We're going to be drawing from the gotcha machine, or I guess the transparent box of impending doom. But as it pans out, right, we still have to go through all of the offline competitors, which are all the participants in this box right now. So it's going to be a one-by-one thing. We're going to go from Group A all the way to L, if I'm not mistaken. And going into right now, Hamiko doing his best gotcha machine impersonation. Pretty well done. I gotta say, his form is top-notch.
All right, just to mention as well, it will be from, I believe, Group A through to Group H will have 2 offline players featured in them. And then from Group I to L, we'll only have 1 offline player. But the name's coming out. What's his first name? Yeah, he's making sure he doesn't... What's he got? Hold on. Can I see it? What does that say? Xiao Hai. What a way to start. No. You can't start the day like that. You cannot start the day with the EWC champion.
All right, hold on. Can I break the fourth wall a little bit? Am I allowed to break the fourth wall? So they were practicing this just to make sure that everything went like according to plan, so that Hamiko like went through the motion, and even like one of the stagehands like in the production team was like trying to check out all the names and all that. So they handed the first ball to Hamiko during the rehearsal, and it was Xiao Hai first. That's the second time he got picked first.
Oh, hold on. Okay, Kawano is gonna be the first name in Group B. Okay. So remember, we knocked these names off because there's a lot of guys here. It will start to get interesting when there's 2 names in a group already. That's when it will start to get really interesting.
Of course. This is just the preliminaries. Mena RD filling in for Group C as the first competitor. I can't even remember what the death bracket was last year, because I'm looking at like the groups right now, and I still feel like all of them are pretty stacked, but hard to tell.
There was one with Xiao Hai, Kills You, Juicy Joe, Knuckle Do. I can't remember what
Group G. That's what it was. Yeah. So it was like Juicy Joe, Xiao Hai, Kills You, Kaba, Knuckle Do, and Nephew.
That's the one.
I don't know. Group E had Fudo, Meta RD, Limestone, Chrissy CH, Mr. Crimson, and Divar.
That wasn't too bad. Okay. And now steps up there. Oh, also, again, I'm probably going to regurgitate this a few times. Remember, no changes to the groups, even if the players are from the same region. So we've seen NL there. If for some odd reason someone else gets there that he knows, we can't change it because they've officially. Kevin.
Right on. Dual Kevin. Midwest, stand up for your boy. Now, one of the biggest changes also that we never really had the time or chance to mention, obviously you see all of these groups. Last year we only had from A to H, right? Going in from A to L this time, we have 4 players per group, right? In comparison to the 6 we had last year.
Oh, okay. Angry Birds. Okay. This is going to be interesting. He's going to be in Group F. Yeah. So he's going to be paired with a South American and someone from the Asia region. I think that's also important to highlight as well, actually. Because when you drop down to the bottom half, the region will change. Yeah. Drop down because, again, the North Americans will be in Group J to Group L as well. Interesting.
And you have one less offline competitor to worry about, right? It's like if there's any sort of like accolades to really consider, it's those that have traveled throughout the season for some of these really stacked and heavy-handed offline events. Going in for Group G.
Hey.
It's in the name, baby. Group G for Gachikun. Starting things off at the top. Now he has to face off against another offline competitor, another Central and South America competitor, as well as Asia and Oceania. So there is a chance, obviously, for him to face off against another Japanese player, right? All things considered, we saw like the big representation. 13 players overall coming in representing Japan.
Yes, 13. It would be kind of funny if 2 Ryu players got in the same group or 2 Ed players got in the same group. I think that'd be pretty funny.
It's possible. You have Fudo and Sahara. If you think about it in terms of a
Lashar
premier
as well.
tournament, and Lashar, technically, yeah. You know? Okay, so that's not happening anymore. He owns his own group, Group H. It's definitely Lashar. It's funny that you say that because like I always forget, like he is from South Korea, but he's been like living in Japan for the last like I think this whole year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's wild to say, but he gets his own group, so that possibility no longer happening for Group G, but everybody else in the Group H side. I wish you the best. I wish you the best.
I wish you the best.
Dude,
He
I'm
is so
telling you,
evil.
man.
He's vicious. He's literally vicious. No pun intended. I'm dead. Oh, hold on.
Oi.
Okay.
So, the second American chosen thus far, if I'm not mistaken, and also with a region of its own, or sorry, a group of its own that doesn't have another offline qualifier. He gets the EMEA choice, Central and South America, and Asia and Oceania. Pretty interesting.
Fudo still hasn't been called, nor has Hinao. I'm interested. I'm interested.
Same with Sahara as well. Right?
Okay.
I like that.
Mickey.
Back-to-back picks on 2 camis thus far. At least it's not like camis in the same group. Not trying to, not trying to jinx it. I'm gonna knock on wood just in case, Going into Group K.
Now, there he is.
Talk to me.
He's one of my dark horses. I think he can go really far. So I'm just curious to see. Because his roster, they're Shoto, well, Luke Shoto-esque, but he's got Ryu Nakuma. People should be worried about this kid. And because he's qualified via offline, now the EMEA slot from a World Warrior, as well as a North American player, has to deal with him. Who's the next one? All right.
Same goes for him. I don't know how to really classify him right now. I haven't been able to stay in tune deeply with his current performances, or at least on his stream. He'll play ranked, he'll practice out. He did have quite the performance over at SFL Japan. But Zangief and Marisa, for Itabashi Zangief, has been in a really interesting spot for him, but he's still qualified, right? He's here into CAPCOM Cup 12. I just want to know what he's going to do with the rest of his bracket going into it. So we'll see. We'll see if the gods favor him in terms of the matchups he actually wants to play against.
Okay. Now, as we said before, going from Group A to Group H, it will feature 2 offline players. So, Zhao Hai was the first one, the EWC defending champion, but who will be joining him from the remaining offline names here? Every group's going to be deadly in its own right. Oh, no!
Oh, my God!
Oh, no!
No way!
Oh, you're trolling. You're trolling.
No way, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy.
We need to go. We actually need to go.
You can't do that. You can't. You can't. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. We gotta go. Hey, if there's any death group, it's not even just these 2 players. It's the fact that they were just playing each other. They were just playing off against each other a few days ago. It was the GTW New Year Championship, bro. I'm sure the commentators are saying the same thing.
Udo.
No shot.
Okay. Dude, what is going on? Do you know what? If you want to add salt to injury, put Momochi in that group. With Mena right now, put Momochi in that group. Please, please. If Momochi comes out, I'm cutting my camera. You're lucky. Okay.
I thought you said Mochi? I didn't realize you said
No, I said
Momochi.
Momochi.
Okay, I thought you said Mochi. I'm like, excuse me? You are a warlock. That is crazy. I thought you called it. I was about to say, I have no affiliation or association with this man. Jammers, Twitter, get him. I would have done the whole thing.
Whoa. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So apparently we got word that we have Aru is scolding Hamako for making Japan or Japanese players in the same group. I don't make the rules. We don't make the rules, bro.
At least it was Fudo, and it wasn't like Kawano versus Sahara. You know what I mean? Or Pugera being a part of Good 8 squad.
I mean,
if there's a silver lining.
We stipulated the rules. Ah, okay. Okay, Pugera, Jill, Kevin in the same group. Okay, he'll take his chances there. Both of them will actually.
Both of them will, exactly.
Okay, you got to put Momochi in this group. Momochi's got to be here because the Evo match that Angry Bird and Momochi had in 2024, I think, that was sensational. You've got to let him run it back, surely.
I personally want to see.
Okay, did he? Where's he go? Talk to me.
You're crazy. All right, now it's scripted. This guy's insane. So we do get the run back coming in from this year's Evo.
Ooh.
I almost hit you with the Injanai. I almost did it, bro. You almost hit me.
There we go.
Yeah.
Apparently, apparently I'm gonna get arrested for rigging a group. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think somebody's gonna be knocking on your door real soon. A couple of special agents. That is most certain. Make sure to hide all the rest of your cheesecakes.
Actually, I can give him up first. That's fine.
So the last two, obviously, Kobayan and Ryukichi. Kobayan is going to be the one filling in as a second offline slot for Group G against Gachikun. Zangief versus Rashid. It didn't happen to Dual Kevin. It's now on Gachikun's lap. That's going to be crazy to watch. Because Kobayan does a really good job against a lot of the Rashid players out in Japan.
Well, Zangief still, like, pretty much beats him pretty well, or pretty convincingly, but I'm pretty sure Gachikun will be prepared as much as he can be, but Ryukichi, his name is there. He will be in the same group as one of the world's best, but Ryukichi is no slouch himself. I'll be very curious to see what matchup he'll go for, because Lashar doesn't normally go for the Ed Mirror. He did go for it in a couple of times in SFL Japan, but he does have a Terry in the back pocket. But as you can see on the CAPCOM Cup 12 group draw, these are all your offline players via the automatic wins or the premier points or the special guests. They have now been allocated a group, and this is how it pans out thus far.
If you're looking at it from like a commentary perspective or an analyst perspective, like which is your group of death right now? Personally, I want to say possibly Group B, having Kawano and Fudo in it, both extremely heavy hitters. Possibly Group H, but Group A actually might just be the highlight. But it's so tough to say it because like Xiaohai and Blaz have so much history within the last couple of days. But yeah, I think it has to be Group A, right?
For me, it's Group A, but very close to Group A is Group F. Angry Bird and Momochi. Just because of the knowledge and just the technical prowess both those guys have at this kind of level here. Momochi hasn't been in the cup for a long time, so people might be unfamiliar with Momochi's practice. You can watch him, but how often are you guys bumping into him? And when he really wants to get going, remember, he's a CAPCOM Cup champion himself. People forget that with Momochi, right? So I think this guy's ready. But now, we're going to my region next, so I'm going to watch my peoples suffer. Are they going to put Ending Walker in this group? It's Ending Walker or Joe. Ending Walker or Joe. Let me see. Talk to me.
Oh! Zerna! Word!
Okay.
That's pretty big, all things considered. In terms of like the character selection, I'm already thinking about it, like with Mai and Jerry. That's gonna be a tough one, I feel.
He'll have to pick Mai against Punk, because Punk might go Cammy. Or he might even go.
I would agree with you. Lex and Mickey, haven't they played before? I'm almost certain these guys have played before on the big stage, but I'm gonna double check just in case.
It might have been Evo 2025, maybe Vegas. It might have been. I'm not particularly sure, but Hinao's gonna get a young gun. He has to. It'd be funny if it be Kills You or Ending Walker. That'd be funny. Oh my.
Excuse me? Excuse me, Jammers? Hey, man, I don't know how much extra you're getting paid to call these brackets like that, but hey, stop, man. Can you keep it down?
You know what? I should just keep quiet. Should keep quiet.
You probably should, man. Kind of treading some dangerous water. Even the producers just like kind of quiet on their end. They're just like, you know what? There's something wrong here.
Diver.
Diver coming in for the EMEA region, having to face off against Inabashi Zangief, which I feel like is not going to be too bad. I feel like how much practice does he have against Zangief would be the primary question in his region. Inabashi has all the ed practice in the world, right? That's gonna be a very tough call for Diver. Personally, just off the rip, if I'm calling it like player, not even just like player to player, just like matchup specifics.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think he'll relish in the moment and want to relish in the challenge. That would be pretty interesting to see. But again, all of these guys are going to come adequately prepared. So we're looking forward to seeing how it is. But who will be joining Group A? Oh, no, okay, we're done. We're done. No, that's it. That's it, guaranteed. It's got to be this group. It has to be this group.
This is it.
It has to be.
Free. Oh my god, dude. Are you actually kidding me right now? What are we looking at, Jammers? Shanghai Blaz and Juicy Joe.
Oh. No way.
Kawano Fudo Ending Walker.
He's got an Akuma. Ed. He used to play Ed. He's very good against Akuma. I know Angry Bird did beat him in SFL EU, but he's got good knowledge against Akuma.
He's got the DJ as well coming in from Fudo just in case. And we've seen that even in like modern times. My man always about to slap Hamiko with like the production board in his hand. He's like, hey man, stop messing it up for everybody.
Well, I mean, I'm about to get hit by production myself, so me and Hamiko can go down together. Oh,
Ben RD, White Shimochi, and Big Bird. Yo, even Group C is looking kind of spicy.
Man, this is looking long. This is looking long.
Looking long indeed. That's the word for it for sure. What is happening, Jammers?
I'll tell you what's happening. Oh no. Okay.
I
He's got NL.
I actually love this for Jabi.
I can see it happening, but he's got a lot of work to do because I don't think they have an Ed in the South African region. Akuma, you learn trial by fire. It's the Ed I'm worried about. And he does play Terry as well. But Yon Angel will be joining Dual Kevin and Pugera. He's going to have to put on quite a show. Dual Kevin's got a JP, so you can't catch him by surprise. But Pugera, how ready is he for him?
That is probably the bigger question coming into it. I'm not too sure how many of the JPs he gets to like participate or like play off against, but there are like a handful of really solid JPs, obviously, and even some of the more like streams that you've been tuning into in Japan involve a lot of Japanese high-end players starting to transition over to JP recently, right? So now the question would be like, is John Angel going to be prepared for someone like a Dual Kevin, someone like a Pugera who also has like Sagat in his repertoire as well?
Well, speaking of repertoire, the Central and South American players have got a repertoire of talent, let alone dangerous characters. But what is the first name Hamiko is going to pull out? I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. It's 3 strikes and you're out. I've had 2, so I got to be careful now.
Give me Shaka. Oh God, I gotta go. I didn't. I wanted it because I wanted to see the way he. All right, listen, I got nothing. All
right.
I want to see this Dawson versus the JP.
You can't. Right. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna say to production. Come on. Nah, he's done it. He's done it now as well. Come on. It's only fair.
I've outed myself. I should have I'm just trying to soften the blow against you, bro. Listen, we wouldn't be friends if I didn't do this, right?
No, real talk. All right, speaking of, we got Kaba here. Hold on, what? Okay. Ooh, oh my word. No way.
Hold on.
That's a tough group for Kaba. That's actually a tough group. Yeah, that's really tough. You got two JPs. You got Pugera, who's pretty versatile. He's a solid player, but character-wise, the odds look against him.
I think Kevin's going to be opting for Rashid for that matchup specifically, right? The DJ coming in. Tashi coming in for Group F against Angry Bird and Momochi. I don't know how I feel about that, genuinely. Going up against like Angry Bird and Momochi.
Momochi's got a good track record against DJ, no matter what character he plays. Angry Bird will instill his style, but I think Tashi will be pretty excited to actually relish in the challenge, regardless of the state.
I felt like it was like the DJ that actually like halted Momochi from winning Blink Respawn because of Fudo coming into it, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I'm not sure. We'd have to fact check that. Not Pedro. Oh, you know what? He's got chances here. No, because of his roster, he's got chances here. Only because he's added Sagat to the roster. He's actually got a good chance in this group. Not Pedro.
I can see that. I can see that for sure against Rashid. I think I like both of his characters going up against Rashid personally. This has to be. Although even Hamiko was kind of calling it right now. He's like, it has to be Lugabo, right?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay, right. Production, you have to get him as well. He called it before he pulled the name out. He's got the name in his hand.
Yeah, that's Hamiko is definitely in detention as well. So he's one of us. So that just leaves. So obviously Lugabo in the slot with Ryukichi and the Char. Obviously Arma KOF is going to be running against Punk and Zerna. Really now.
Okay. Do you know what? He can surprise that group with the names in there. And just going what you said about his style before, Arma KOF, I can see him causing an upset or really being a ripple in the waves. And especially because the format has changed from last year. Remember, a lot of these guys have second lifelines. So.
Yeah. Having that DJ in the mix is also going to be quite entertaining to see it against like Punk and Zerna.
Do you know what Hamako should have done? He should have juggled those three because they're three pots, right? He should have tried to juggle them and then pick a name from there. That would have worked. Oh, that is sick. That is sick. That is sick.
Yo, what's crazy is so just right off the cuff, right? Lex is gonna have mad intel coming in against Chrisitarian just because of JB by default, right? Because like JB had to face off against him in like one of the grand finals of like World Warrior and consistently play off against him even before the finals, right?
No.
He now kills you and Knuckle Do.
Wait. Hold on. Hold the phone. These two were in the same group last year. I swear these two were in the same group last year.
You are correct. Yeah, Knuckle Do and Kills You were in Group G last year.
There you go.
What happened? What happened, guys?
Oh, man.
He has to do it again.
Our last name. Yeah. And then I'm getting too excited for this. And then our last name, Jack. He's going to be in the same group as Diver and Itabashi Zangief. Now, he wasn't able to make it out of his group last year, Jack, but with the odds here, Marisa, Geef, Ed, he's got a Mai part of the repertoire as well. I think these are good odds for Jack.
I feel like, again, Diver being like the dark horse of the group, just for me personally, just based off of like the amount of times I've been able to like watch him play, I kind of have some confidence in Jack, but Diver might just give him like the run.
All right, this will seal the deal. If VX Bao or Higuchi gets put into this group, that seals the deal on this group being the most deadliest group ever. If it does it. He's got a name. Talk to me.
来ました。
誰
ホットドッグ
Okay.
Ooh, dodged
グ
it.
ループ A 完成しました。上海
Dodged it a little bit.
市場
That's still a pretty scary group, though.
ハメコさん
Yeah, I can agree with that. Hot Dog was a part of Group A last year. He had to face off against like Takamura, Phenom, Salvatore, Punk, and
エ
Inabashi.
ンディングウォーカー
But still pretty damn difficult. Ending Walker, Fudo, and Kawano.
これ
Dear
多分
Lord.
あれじゃない樋口緊張あたりが熱
い
いんじゃない
や俺も
I'm
ね
pretty
日
sure.
本勢が入る可能性が
I think any of those names. Do you know they might want to be there? I don't know. Maybe they do want to be there. I'm not saying they don't want to. I don't want to be there, but maybe these guys do. But...
はい真ん中選びました
I actually want to see Higuchi in Group C.
に
2位
ブレイブリー
ブレイブリー
Okay, so
Okay.
Bravery in
No.
Group B.
Okay.
Talk to me.
シンガポールからブレイ
You know what? They have to pay attention. They have to say switch on, all of them.
なのか
That's not like you can't sleep at this dude now, especially in these environments. He's actually well suited, similar to Noah. Very suited for these environments. You're not gonna have a clean break of trying to get out of that group. So Bravery being in Group B, I kind of like the outcome of Group B there. That's pretty good.
I'm getting old. I definitely skipped over. That Corgi going into Group C.
パイパーが入るんですか
Wow. Oh my God.
It makes
No
sense.
way.
C for C Viper. I love that. So
対策が大変
against Men are D against YHC Mochi, which I feel is I feel like it's great for Viper.
はい
Big Bird, how much has he
グ
been
ループ F ですかね
practicing up against his
まあ
character?
今のもう多しそこに入るのはから選んで
Viper versus Blanca, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of Viper versus Sim either, especially against one of the best Sims in the world. He's got his work cut out from Dark Corgi, but he can do it. But Kincho,
本当
he is going to be wow. Group no. Group F. Momochi, Angry Bird, Tashi, and Kincho.
8%
That is going to be a group to watch. If it's not Group A, like I said, it's got to be Group F. That's got to be
るんだろうな
a group you got to be lazing in on in terms of a group of death.
みんな超強いからまあ G
Skipping over to the rest of the groups, Group G.
5番
For Gatsu-kun, Kobeon, not Pedro.
これ怖いよ
これやる可能性ある
樋口残ってるからね
さあここに入るのは
誰
Jiwa.
EX バオ
Damn it.
Yes, bro.
あーいいとこ持ってる
Oh. Okay.
なかなかっすね
Oh, you know what? Now that group's actually done, you look
That's
at
quite
that
the mix
group
of a
now.
group.
EX バオ
これは
あメイン最近前に
Let's see. Rashid from Gatsu-kun, Kobeon Zangief, not Pedro with Ken
まあ
Sagat,
いろいろ使いますからね
and then VX Bao. He has shown off the Bison over at
グルー
SFL.
プ H
Ed and Mai.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Group G's a tough one.
誰を
It's
誰
a
を
tough
入れるん
one.
だいあなた
Who's going to join Group H though? Lashar, Ryukichi, and Lugabo. It will be Travis Styles coming in. Listen, if you thought his looks could kill, so could his gameplay. But he's going to be in a tough group there because Kimberly, he's going to have a lack of knowledge on how that guy plays, Lugabo. Ryukichi and Lashar, there's plenty of information out there, but it doesn't mean you're going to be ready for the exam because experience is the best teacher. The test first, the lesson later.
I was gonna say a side note. There were some instances against Lashar and Ryukichi against Goichi's Chun-Li, so there is some homework out there for Travis Styles to brush up on. But going into Group I, however, Higuchi filling out the final slot for Punk, Zerna, and Arma. That's I want to say that's also a pretty well-rounded group, not even in terms of like players, but also like character selection.
No way. That's another tough group we're looking at. Group J, because Reign Pro has been reigning supreme in Hong Kong or in East Asia. That's how he qualified here. And that group
Guiles.
is two Guiles. Somebody was going to get two Guiles in the group. And it is going to be Chris and Mickey here as well. But then who's going to be one of the last names remaining? Raihan is going to be joining him now. Kills you. And Knuckle Dude. I don't know if these guys would be scared of a modern Elena at all, or he's gonna bring a Jamie, because if this guy works on his Jamie, he could cause an upset in that group there. But then that
Modern
means,
Jamie, modern Elena.
yeah, you're right, modern all over.
Jiwa rounding out the final group, Group L. Jiwa joining Itabashi, Zangief, Diver, and just a kid coming in with that Mai. I'm actually quite impressed seeing Jiwa in the mix again, right? I loved seeing him around in the Street Fighter 4 era, and I love seeing him make it to Capcom Cup that one time, and now that he's fully in force with that Mai, I think he's going to give Grupo a pretty hard time. It's hard to predict with the limited amount of information up on against Jiwa, but I gotta say, man, these turned out to be quite crazy. Group A, Xiaohai, Blaz, Hot Dog, Juicy Joe. That is quite the picnic, Jammers.
Yeah, Group A, Group B, Group F. Like, there's so many different groups and titans in these games, or in the competitive environment. I'm just glad it's not just like one group. It's like 4 or 5 groups who are like, oh, like, yo, this group's going to be pretty difficult to call. Who's going to emerge victorious? Who's even going to make it to phase 2? We're looking at right now what's happening, because remember, in day 1, we're going to be getting our ensured 12 players advancing to the top 16 before we go into the phase 2 in the last stages of the CAPCOM Cup. But now, this is the fixtures. Now, I've said this about... let me see if I can explain this. I've said this about matches with the round robins and these different formats, but there's always a deciding match that decides the group, if that makes sense. Where when it's a group of death, it's harder to call because all the matches matter, but there's always 1 or 2 defining matches that go, okay, this is going to change the whole system. But we need to see who's going to be stepping up first. Now, Xiaohai and Juicy Joe were in the same group last year. They have played. I think Xiaohai beat Joe 2-1, and he used Mai. And I think that's when Mai was still fairly fresh, and Joe didn't have a lot of experience in that matchup at the time. I think that's
that is correct. That is correct. Xiaohai had also taken down like Knuckle Dew as well, but Juicy Joe took down like Kaba. He took down he took the two Guile players down. Kaba, Knuckle Dew. He took down Nephew as well, so... And he also had to face off against Kills You. But yeah, no, you're right. Xiaohai and Juicy Joe being in the same group again is a very exciting thing. What happens if it's like... There's 2 prospects here. Either Xiaohai Blaz, Xiaohai Juicy Joe. The only fresh thing that would come up would be like Xiaohai Hot Dog that we haven't really seen as often, but I'm sure you could see it within like the Asia region, surely.
No, that's true. Also, as well, don't forget at UFA to make the top 8. Or it was either the top 8 or it was in the top 8. Blaz beat Juicy Joe as well. So Joe's got actually 2 people he can run it back with in offline environments in a regular season or a high stakes Capcom event here. So you know, I think when Joe wakes up, I think he'll be a little bit shocked, but I think he'll be he's gonna wake up to this, by the way, because we're in Europe. He's gonna wake up to this.
I'm happy that you said that, because if I were to stay awake to watch this, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
No. Oh my god,
that's the 3rd time he's been picked first, man.
They're actually doing this on purpose.
It's the 3rd time he's been picked first. Come on, man. Now we await his fate. Who he has to face off against. Here are the first match, Group A, Phase 1.
Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog.
Give me, you know what, Jammers? Give me Blaz. Let's go!
Wow.
That, you know what? Y'all can fire me now if you want. But that's kind of godlike. Tell me that's not godlike, Jammers. We get the run back from the most recent set.
No. Blaz is on the other one. Blaz is on the other side.
Oh, he's on the other one.
Blaz on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on the other side.
Okay. So they bamboozled me. They let me keep my job. They said, you know what? We're actually putting him in match 2. Okay, so now that we know the format, my mistake. I thought it was pick 1, pick their matchup, go into match 2, pick 1, pick their matchup. That's what my impression was. I see. Xiaohai Juicy Joe, I'm sure you're ecstatic about that. Blaz versus Hot Dog.
I don't know who I don't know who Hot Dog's gonna pick. Because they both have Sagat at their disposal. I don't see a Sagat mirror happening. They're gonna do something else. Xiaohai versus Juicy Joe. I can see Mai versus JP happening again. Joe's been working on another character. I don't know if he'll actually bring them out here, but I think he's confident in his JP play. But again, I think the fans will want to see Zhao Hai versus Blas match number 3, and then whoever wins that advances to the top 16 winners side there as well. But then it's curious to see who's actually going to make it into phase 2, to be honest with you, because any of these guys can make it out of the group winners side, and any of these guys can make it out of the group into the phase 2. So I think Group A is literally up in arms there. So I have no qualms with those matchups. It's just a question mark of who's going to make it out.
I agree with you. Going into Group B with Kawano, speaking of which, first name called up into match 1, filling that slot. Kawano, Fudo, Bravery, and Ending Walker. Who's going to face off against Kawano's Akuma? Now, again, he's been mad sturdy throughout the entirety of his performance with Good 8 Squad and SFL Japan. But on the other side of the bracket, is he okay? Okay. If it's Fudo? Oh, okay. Well,
hold on.
Pretty fortunate for those two, right? Being separated in the bracket.
Yeah,
Oh,
you've called it twice
though?
now. Maybe you've called them twice. You've called these names twice now. Stop it. Which means, oh,
You like this
okay.
You like this one for sure. I think this is the matchup that I feel like you wanted to happen in terms of like Ending Walker's like comfort zone. Matchup knowledge.
It was Kawano or Fudo I wanted him to fight, and I think he's excited to fight a lot of these people at the highest level. Bravery versus Fudo. I don't think that's ever happened. I'm not sure if that's actually happened before. No. I don't think so.
Not that I recall. Bravery versus Fudo. I'd have to double check.
That's a big match.
But still solid nonetheless. In regards to like the style that Bravery likes to play. One of the kind of similar play styles, not like quite 1-to-1, but you kind of think about Akira, the Kami player from Japan. He did have to face off against Fudo a handful of times too. In like, not even just League, but in general. I'd imagine that would be like the closest thing that Fudo has for that type of practice.
Yeah, no, you know what? That's actually a very good point that you bring up for Group B. But Group C, Big Bird will be the first name to be put on the fixture sheet. But then we will find out his opponent very shortly as we find out who's going to be match 2 kicking it off. Is it going to be Mena RD? No, it will be Dak Corgi with the Viper here. Now, either way, he's avoided Rashid. That will probably be his ideal pick character-wise, maybe. But we're going to see where the Bulls, the Evo Japan and Evo Vegas champion, where is he going to be placed? That's the real question here. Wyatt Mochi. Don't sleep on that Dalsum either, but it is going to be Mochi that comes out, and he will be going up against... That's bad odds. Character-wise, that's bad odds, but I'm pretty sure he's played enough received in Japan to have a wealth of experience to understand what to do next. Yeah, that's true. That's true. A former teammate.
I mean, he can still play Gachikun. They're still teammates, kind of, you know?
Okay.
Mena RD. You talked about this too. Blanca going up against C Viper. I haven't had like the luxury of being able to watch that matchup too often. I've only played it on ranked, but now I get to see like it's more so in the hands of like Duck Corgi to really make the champ sweat, right?
You know what? I couldn't have articulated it better myself. It's actually going to be a very good or opportunistic moment for Dak Corgi. I think he'd be excited to do it as well. And this is the thing. When you're in these kind of environments, the seeding's doing it for you. Half the work's done. Now you get to laser in on who you have to practice against, so he can study up on Blanca as much as possible, if he brings out Blanca. But moving on to Group D now, Sahara, the first name to step out. This kid has been going from strength to strength, been streaming a lot more. He's got an Akuma, but I think he's just going to stick with Ed throughout this tournament as well. One of my friends from secondary school is actually a massive fan of watching Sahara play this game. So I'm actually going to let him know that, hey, you want to stay up and watch this man play. And it will be NL going to be on match 2 on the other side. Sahara, maybe he might take his... Sahara will like either of these players, you know. I'm not going to lie to you. Sahara might actually like either of these players.
I think he would like Shaka a little bit more, and he does get it He does indeed get it, right? A lot of Dawson practice. He's a lot of Dawson practice, but also a lot of actual like real life games in SFL. Shaka going into this though, he's had some really interesting looks in regards to that matchup specifically. I think Shaka can upset Sahara. I think there's a possibility for that.
No, that's very true. Now, obviously, JBM will be the last name here. He'll be going up against NL. Now, there was a match he had against Angry Bird. I think it was day 3 or day 4, SFL EU. It did not look particularly good, but that was Evo champion going up against South Africa's finest player here. He's got plenty of knowledge. He's very astute when it comes to studying. I've seen his YouTube channel, JBM, and how he looks at things and how he studies. He's going to have to go on Replay Takeover on NLCFN and really study up here. But I think if he does his homework right and understand NL's tendencies, I think he can take that one against NL, at least for the first match anyway.
Moving on to Group E, Yon Angel, the first one picked for the match is set for him. Gonna be the JP filling up that spot. On the other side of the bracket, we're gonna find out who's filling in that spot. I don't even know who I would want separated, honestly. I wouldn't want to see dual Kevin versus Cabo. I really would not want to see that in terms of like the matchup spread that we've seen throughout the season. So dual Kevin on the other side, match 2, there is that possibility. Did I just jinx it, Jammers?
You've done it too much now. You can't be allowed in lottery streams. You just this is your gacha coming out. I know it's your gacha coming out. Oh no, I did not want that to happen. Oh, mate. Okay, Guile JP. Actually, you know what? No, you know what? Cabo might want that. I think Yona Angel's happy character-wise, but I think Cabo will want to take his chances there against Yona Angel. He's probably seen how he qualified for the cup, but Pugera, we've gone up against dual Kevin, and he's got an array of characters there. But the thing is, dual Kevin's not just strictly Rashid anymore. So the big question mark is here: who is more appropriate for someone like Pugera? Because I said this when we were at EWC, Pugera is like a special case, a dark horse for me in terms of what he comes with at these big events. He really showed up for his team in the Worlds last season. And he came with the Sagat and EWC this year. It was still a fairly new Sagat, but he's had more time, a couple more months now. So we're actually going to see. And remember, I see Pugera more in Street Fighter League environments, not in these individualistic events. Now we're bringing him back into the 1v1, the real competitive events. So it'll be very interesting to see how Pugera fares in that group, honestly.
Going into Group F, the first person picked out, Kincho, the most recent player to qualify into CAPCOM Cup towards the end of that regional final for Japan, coming in with that Terry. Now, obviously, I don't think he'd want to face off against Momochi. He'd rather, I don't even know if he'd want to pick Angry Bird, honestly, or Tashi, but I'd imagine he doesn't want to face off against his countrymen, which he won't. Momochi is going to be solidified into the second part of the matchup in the other half of the bracket.
Okay, so who is going to be going up against Kincho? Kincho versus Angry Bird might be pretty interesting. Hey, there you go.
You gotta stop doing it.
I think that'd be a pretty. I think that'd be a pretty interesting match to see because, again, Kincho qualified via the regional final, as Vicious mentioned earlier. He got a beat down from Blaz not too long ago in that 5-0 in the Chinese online tournament. So Gat versus Terry. He's going to have to be working pretty hard there, but Tashi will be going up against Momochi. Now, I said Momochi, from what I've seen on online replays, he has got a very good track record against DJ in general, no matter what character he picks. So hopefully Tashi will take that into consideration and come prepared accordingly. This is what Group F for Phase 1 is going to be looking like here, Vicious. What we thinking? Any more comments on this one?
I just hope that Momochi had learned from the last time he faced off against DJ coming in from Blink Respawner, right? We saw Fudo do the dance on him as soon as he won that ticket into CAPCOM Cup. But will Tashi bring something new, right? Obviously, I think he's going to be like the biggest highlight for me going into that group because I want to see like how he fares off against some of the veterans. Some of the veterans. One of them being Momochi.
All right, so on to Group G now with Gachikun leading the charge. You couldn't ask for a better deal. Group G, and obviously his name starts with a G here. Now, if you separate Kobian, that'd be interesting. But then, not Pedro.
It's not Pedro.
Will be, yeah. Well, I mean, that's his name. We're not saying it's not Pedro. That's not going to be in match number 1, but. We're gonna see.
Shut up, man. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it. You got me.
It's nearly 4 in the morning over here.
Don't do it to him. Don't do it to Kobian. VX Bao is going to be the guy facing off against Gachikun. Now, I don't know how I actually feel about this one. In regards to like VX Bao's history against like some of the Rashid players out here. Or even in some of the Rashid players he has to face off in the States. Kobian filling in that 4th slot against not Pedro.
You know what? Kobian's ready. I can see like Kobian's ready for anything and everything in these kind of environments, these high octane environments. So I think regardless if Pedro picks Ken or Sagat, he'll be ready. I think statistically speaking, Sagat's the better pick, but he could surprise him with a Ken. Who knows?
And that's a matchup I feel like is that's a matchup that Kobian's been kind of like going through the ringer for like numerous seasons now, right? There's so much data on him and Ryukichi from even events outside of Capcom Pro Tour stuff in general, right? So I think Sagat would have to be the pick.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Now moving on to Group H, Lashar will be the first name out of the 4 names of the draw here. Obviously qualified via combo breaker. He's had multiple premier wins under his belt. One of the most consistent, one of the most like probably the greatest competitive seasons of his like fighting game career, to be honest with you, especially with the Street Fighter League Japan win tacked onto his individual performances. And then Travis Styles will be separated from him there as well, which means Travis Styles has the opportunity to fight Lugabo, the Kimberly. We're gonna see where he goes here.
Or maybe even like the mirror with Ryukichi, right? Okay, well, the 2 L's coming into match 1, Lashar versus Lugabo. Kimberly versus the Ed. I'm actually mad excited to see that. If Lashar can keep up with the pace that Lugabo sets for himself most of the time in his matches. But Travis Styles versus Ryukichi, is it going to actually be the My Mirror?
I can see that. I can definitely see that happening. Because I think Mai has a pretty decent time against Chun-Li. Despite like Chun-Li actually being kind of slept on as a character, but she's still fairly decent. But Mai is one of the best, one of the most used characters in the game at the moment. Super popular. So I can see Travis Styles just having to stick to, you know, to the book with this one and just going with the Mai pick his best option. Ryukichi, he can actually switch it up if he wants to with the Ed or the Mai himself. But again, the number 1 priority for all these guys is to get into the final day winner's side for the top 16.
Going into Group I, Higuchi in the first slot of match 1, rocking that Guile. Who would I not want to see him play against? Actually, well, Arma's going to be filling up the other side of the bracket. Go ahead, Jammers.
I mean, that answers half your question. I'm okay whether he's going to be on the other half. So, I mean, but have I seen Punk versus Higuchi? I know Zen has never been in the Cup, so that's different. Have I seen Punk versus Higuchi? No, I haven't. Thank you. I haven't.
That's crazy.
In a Capcom Cup environment, no, because Higuchi hasn't been there. But I don't know if they've actually faced each other in offline. They probably have.
That's a tough call. I'm not too sure. But he has a pretty solid record against Giles overall. Zerna's going to be filling in that spot up against Arma. That's the matchup I kind of want to look forward to in regards to like seeing how those 2 players play in general, rather than like the character matchup itself.
Yeah.
Considering they haven't really been into like the big dance. I mean, obviously Higuchi has not really been in there for Street Fighter 6 before, but we've seen him in a slew of different top tier events. Arma, KOF, and Zerna representing themselves pretty well, but them having to face off against each other off the rip, kind of a rough spot.
Well, this is another group I want people to kind of pay attention to, be laser focused on, because the names here are heavy hitters. Even if your name gets called out first, it don't matter. Any opponent you have in this group is going to be such a mountainous task. And Rain Pro will be the first name to sit in that slot for match number 1. But who will be opposite with him and potentially meet him in the winners final to progress through the winner's side for the top 16?
I'm not too sure if Rain Pro actually plays out a lot of the mirror matches, or if he'll have like a Bison for that. I don't even know if it's something he would choose that matchup for specifically. But we'll see how that plays out. Rain Pro being the first one. In match number 2 on the other side, it is Chris Tatarian. Okay. I don't know who we'd rather face off against.
Tricky. Yeah, that's tricky. Because Lex, he can talk to JB, as you mentioned before. That's actually valuable information. Mickey can just pick Mai here, and oh, that's tricky. It's gonna be a mirror. Or tell you what, he could pick. He's got a Bison. He's got a Bison. He's actually been prepping. He's been prepping a Bison. He's got pretty decent Bison. So if he wanted to whip out Bison here, but Rain Pro, I think Rain Pro still dabbles with Cammy. I'm not sure. I don't think he'd bring out Cammy here, but.
And that rounds out Mickey for Chris Tatarian, which is something that he's very much so like okay with. For Mickey, I think any of the Ken players that he gets to play off in his region is something to keep him confident. But there's just something specific about Chris Tatarian in regards to like his adaptation towards players, like his meticulous spacing, that he's kind of like set the stage with, or he's actually gone like above and beyond with to make it to the big dance. I actually kind of wonder if Chris is going to be able to adapt to Mickey fast enough.
Yeah,
But
no,
Rain
that's
Pro
a good
and Lex,
thing, because
though.
I think, just going back on the Mickey point, I think some people actually mentioned Mickey's probably one of the fastest players in terms of adaptation. So that's actually going to be pretty interesting. But Rain Pro versus Lex, that's definitely one we can't rule out for sure. But quickly moving on to Group K, another interesting group with Hinao, Kills You, Knuckledoo, and Raihan. It is Kills You coming out ahead first, so he'll actually be the first match in this group to set the pace of things. He's been at CAPCOM Cup last year. He was gallivanting the world with Crimson. He was part of Crimson's team in SFL EU. He's got a wealth of experience now on the international stage, so we'll be here. But who's gonna be separated from him? It's gonna be Knuckledoo.
Right. You could say a lot about Knuckledoo, right? Former CAPCOM Cup champion. I want to say like not as much like world traveled, because he does have like a family. He'll pick and choose some of his spots to participate in some of the big CPT events around the world when he can. But still, very curious to see who's going to face off against. Kills You versus Hinao. You talk about a world warrior from one end from Kills You, and the man who barely leaves the stoop from out of nowhere. Yo, Hinao coming in, taking down Kwai Shao Fight Club. I like this.
Oh, mate, that's crazy, which means that Knuckledoo will have to go up against our modern user in Raihan. This is going to be interesting here. Elena, Jamie, and Luke as part of the character roster. I think Knuckledoo will take his chances. Ever since he went full-time Mai, he hasn't really looked back. I know he dabbles with 1 or 2 other characters, but I think he'll be looking to take his chance there. Kills You versus Hinao. That might be one of the matches to look out for throughout the day on day 1. If they're going to do one of those prediction brackets we do at the start of the day, that's going to be one of the matches you don't want to miss. Kills You versus Hinao. And it's all best of 5 territory as well. So they've got an extended period of time to really sink their teeth into some of these matchups.
Oh man, Hamiko was going hard now. I see Aru already kind of talking about it, like Inabashi versus Diver being a possibility. But it's going to be Jack first. going in with that jury, but he's also been picking up a lot of different characters as well. Obviously, we saw him not too long ago. I forgot which stream it was, but I think he's also a part of Genesis. I think he was there. But either way, Jiwa on the other side, though. So,
Okay.
Aru doesn't get his wish. Not Itabashi versus Diver.
はい、プレイヤーズジャックと対戦するのは
Diver.
ダイバー
It looks like, yep. It looks like Diver is the pick. So it will most likely be Ed versus Mai.
プレイヤー4は
Most likely.
日本の
And do you know what? That's actually good for him because he's actually pretty good. He's on pretty good speaking terms or friends with Zerna. Zerna plays Mai, so Diver can practice with Zerna before they leave. So
And then, on the other hand, like Jiwa, I feel like he's on kind of an interesting position. I don't know how many Zangiefs he gets to face off against, but Itabashi, he had to go through like all of them in Street Fighter League every single week. So that's going to be quite contentious, I feel like, more so for... Actually, yeah, I feel like even so, no matter what my Itabashi has to face off against, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, right?
no, of course, and like he's been extremely ferocious with his Marisa training as of recent, so he might bring out Marisa for that one, but he's gonna have to mix it up and be as prepared as can be because again he's got a massive fan base out in Japan as well. Itabashi Zangief is really looking forward to that. But then you can see it there. That is the bracket draw for Group L. But then you can see right here, you can see how it will work, or the potential scenarios that can happen here as well.
So it is a mix of different players, right? It's not going to be like the same players within the group, right? In phase one, it's going to consist of Group A to C for that first batch of players. I like that, actually.
This is the phase 2 round robin we're looking at right now, by the way. Sorry.
That's right.
I'm looking at the top of the screen, of course, because phase 2 is super important, and obviously the 4 players will advance to the top 16 final, and then that will round out our top 16 leading up to the grand finale there as well. Plenty of players, plenty of groups, lots of numbers. So if you're good at maths, or you're not so good at maths, you're going to have fun calculating some stuff anyway, but we'll have one of these guys. Remember, in phase 2, only one player can emerge from each of the groups there as well. So in the phase 1, it's 2, one winner. Sorry, one winner will go to the final. One winner, the loser will go to phase 2. And then from the phase 2 part, which is still best of 5, only one player can emerge victorious. And there's one less player there as well, because technically from phase 1, a player will have been eliminated, or players would have been eliminated.
Yeah, and you can see it. I mean, just looking at the graphic, there's going to be 4 different groups going into phase number 2, and each of the people that have qualified from that double elimination bracket will be put into these respective groups, right? The first group of Group A is going to be the ones coming in from phase 1, A through C, and then going forward, the rest of the letters, etc., etc. It leads into the top 16 final. And that's going to be happening, I do believe, on towards Sunday.
Sunday's the final day for SFL Worlds. I think SFL Worlds is the final day, the day before.
Oh, I thought for some reason I thought they put it on Saturday. That was my mistake.
It should be there, right? Well, we're gonna get word from
that's right. You're right.
Voice of Reason in just a minute, right there. But because we need to actually check the calendar ourselves. So yeah, on day 4, March 14th, CAPCOM Cup final tournament. Day 5, March 15th, SFL World Championship final. There you go.
Keep mixing myself up from last year, man. Keep thinking about it.
That was crazy.
Yeah. But this is how it plays out. Looking at it, phase 1, you see where the winners are. They're going to be highlighted in the blue lettering. And then phase 2, where the round robin actually happens, that's going to be with like the reddish, orange, brownish kind of combination of letters. I don't even know what color that is because I can't see the font that well. But that's how it's going to span out for our top 16. How do you feel about that, Jammers?
No, I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm probably going to be doing a lot of like hypotheticals, prediction brackets once we're done here, and then see what can potentially happen. Because again, this is going to be exciting regardless, because of all the names that are just involved in this year's CAPCOM Cup, returning veterans, a lot of young players that have been stepping up and really taking the main stage in terms of their prowess and their energy involved in the game. So, and remember, the further we go into the bracket, the more entertaining and harder it does get for the players. So I'm excited either way.
はいじゃあ次行きましょう
Kind of interesting to see where they seed the winners of Phase 2 in a lot of the in this top 16, right? Like you have Group D versus Group A, and it's not like the Phase 1 Group D, it's the round robin Group D. Same
Yeah.
applies for the round robin Group C facing off against Group D of Phase 1. Very interesting. Group B of the round robin phase faces off against the winner of the double elimination bracket of Phase 1, Group G. And then Group A faces off against Group K. I see.
術抜けはかなり強いやつが来る
Or sorry,
Oh,
Group
you know
A
what?
faces off against Group J. My mistake. Hello. Can't read.
はいグループ B はデュアルケビン
Sorry. Also, we didn't mention this. As you can see, it's in small writing, but it's single elimination format, best of 9 in the top 16, which basically they're first to fives. So from this point onwards, you get an extended set. It is first to 5. And at this point, if you haven't done your homework or you're not ready for it, then like that's on you.
こういうやばいところがあったらもう
That is a similar format against the Esports World Cup this past year, no?
誰が来るか
That is precisely right. We saw a plethora of first to 5s. We saw Ending Walker 5-0 Mena. We saw Angry Bird 5-1. I think it was 5-1 against Ending Walker. We saw a great set between Zhao Hai and Blaz in the final. LeShar versus Blaz. We saw Blaz 5-0. Wyatt C. Mochi and Ken versus Dulcim. And again, these guys have time to adapt, time to implement their strategies and really figure out how their opponent is utilizing the drive system and all those intricacies in the character matchups. But when you see it this way, I think I'll be super excited on the day this happens. I'll be like, oh, okay. First to 5 with these two players? I'll be like, okay, I'm down. Let's watch this. Let's really crunch the numbers here. But only one of those players can be the CAPCOM Cup 12 champion and join Kakeru and of course I'm forgetting his name. Oh my god.
ところはもう
He's disappeared off the face of the earth, and I totally understand,
No.
Jammers.
Right, it's 4 in the morning. I can't remember his name. Oh my god. Uma. There you go. Uma.
I was
I
gonna
can't
say,
believe I
if you
couldn't
want me to do
remember
it,
Uma.
I.
No. It's like, you got it, Jammers. Don't worry, you're getting there. No, you're going to join Uma and Kakeru in terms of Capcom Cup champions for Street Fighter 6. Whoever it is this weekend. It's interesting because they always say it. The favorites never win the tournament. But there's a lot of favorites going into this one.
I mean, was that the case last year? I mean, there was a lot of favorites in last year's competition as well, right? I mean, Kakeru had like quite a phenomenal year going into it.
レシャーとかがいるかもみたいな
Yeah, he did. Especially after he swapped characters for a period of time. Because I remember one of the SFLs, he was using Bison and Akuma. He used it for one of the Topanga championships as well. But then he went back to tried and true JP, especially after some of the changes reverted back and his knowledge got evidently so better. I remember there was that interview that came out where he wanted to pick Mai and his wife said, "You are not picking Mai. You were picking JP." And
You were picking JP, that's
look
right.
what happened there. Listen, the wife made the call and look what happened.
You can never go against, like, he's lost his privileges off of that Capcom Cup run. Sure, he's a lot happier with the W, but man, he's never winning an argument again.
グループ K グループ K こちら
It's it, man. I tell you what, that is true. But yeah, hopefully wherever Kakeru is right now, hopefully he's doing well. Hopefully we actually get to see him at the venue just chilling and watching, or even he'll be watching from home there as well. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this, how this format or how the groups have panned out. I'm actually looking forward to a lot of them. I know there will be 1 or 2 surprises. Can't obviously call it now, but we will be in for 1 or 2 surprises or results that we're not going to be expecting.
レアケース
レアケース
はずなんですよ
I'm very excited to see it, man. This what we were looking forward to for a very, very long time. The culmination of all the players finally getting seeded into positioning. Now, I do want to ask you
でもねまあ
about, I want to maybe like save this conversation to when Capcom Cup happens for a lot of the interviews that do come out of the way, a lot of the content in general, but like we have to start getting our dark horses ready. And I want the chat to also get involved, like what their favorites are, what their dark horses are, some of their favorite characters. Like you could even like go through the spread of the players, the characters in fashion of how much they're going to win by or lose by, etc. And also we still have to go through the Street Fighter League matchups later on today. So be as involved and vocal as possible, because like Jammers and I want to hear it. It definitely goes well into the conversations that we have backstage. So I'm very curious and excited to see like everybody's thoughts going into like how these brackets have turned out. And if you have an opinion that differs from ours in terms of the death bracket, I would love to hear which ones and why, personally.
No, of course. Yeah, I've got a couple of names. I do have a couple of names. I don't know if I should reveal them now or wait, because I don't want to jinx their run. I don't want to jinx their run.
I think we're gonna have to do it the week of. Honestly, we'll record it the week of, and then we'll release it as soon as Capcom Cup ends, or maybe the day of finals. Who knows?
I'm down. I'm down.
Okay. But going into it again, one of the biggest supporting partners of Street Fighter League, Taio Holdings, doing an immense job of supporting Street Fighter League. Now throwing out a ton of support. Damn, 200K on the line for the SFL World Championship. And this is what the format's going to be looking like for the group stage. Obviously, we still have like the home and away rules, and it is based upon certain rulings. But let me double check before I mix that up. Boom. We're going to figure out who's going to be sitting on the home and away side just based off of this seeding today. I do believe Hamako and Aru are going to be going through the same gacha rotations of picking out the teams respectively.
Yeah, obviously there are 3 teams, so everyone will have to face each other as well. I believe we will be following the same ruling as we've done in the regular seasons, but we will get onto that when I get more information regarding that. And this is important as well. So these are the teams involved. And there you have it. SFL Japan Champions, which was recent. Team Reject. That crowd was roaring when it was Crazy Raccoon versus Reject. These guys dominated it. Like, maybe dominate is an understatement. They done a complete beatdown against those guys. But the preparation these guys put into the, and you can see that dangerous as can be. And all the nicknames are there as well. Tokido, Lashar, Fudo, and Daigo are going to be representing. And I reckon there'll be guys hanging outside the sumo arena wanting to watch these guys play some Street Fighter in the arena there representing Japan.
You mentioned Daigo a couple of times over, and it kicked me off the stream. Jammers, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, damn. Okay. Looks like they said, "Oh, hide that Daigo, fam."
Well, I had a couple of funny things to say during Daigo's time over in SFL, and I was actually quite happy with his performance. Right, like one of the biggest questions was how is Daigo going to hang with like the current era and current meta of the gameplay and of some of the players, and the answer was he pulled his weight.
He did. But right now on screen, they have got Team Bandit showing here, and I promise you, these guys are coming straight for the juggler because they got Mena, the Bull, captaining this team. Kava, solid forces can be. Boost. Now I gotta say, man, Boost. When I watched the stream that Rob TV done with him in terms of coaching, his mindset, his philosophy behind this game, and how he practices, and how he's so good at the game, it is there. So we are going to be being Boost at the SFL World Champions. He was very close to qualifying for CAPCOM Cup on 1 or 2 occasions as well. Just fell short. But it's going to be good to see him here. I think he's actually going to garner. I think he's actually going to garner a bigger audience here, depending on how Bandits do in the final. And Chris Tatarian, he's such a great guy. He's a teacher as well. His philosophy, his mindset towards competitive play, it's a great addition to the squad. And he's already won an SFL Worlds with Bandits back in 2023.
Right. And now we have like the crazy addition going into Ninjas and Pajamas, brother. What is this powerhouse team? Phenom, Juicy Joe, Angry Bird, and Big Bird. Boy, do I love seeing this combination of players because they were looking mad unstoppable. They were looking unstoppable last year. Well, at least Angry Bird and Big Bird were, right? Just looking at it. But back again with Juicy Joe, this is kind of OD. I will say that. Obviously, Veggie, he's easily one of my favorite people in general. I love seeing him play. I love him kind of like stepping back and now being, I guess, like a little bit of like a facilitator, no, for NIP?
なりその取れる戦略も
Yeah, he's had some real life commitments to take care of, but he's still pretty much involved with the team. I'm actually hoping he does come down to the cup. I'm gonna have to message him and ask him if he's coming actually, but it'd be great to see him because I haven't seen him in a little while. But yeah, listen, Phenom needed more firepower for NIP, and boy did he get it in Juicy Joe. Juicy Joe pulled his weight really well. I can't wait to see him on the international stage in Street Fighter League World. Phenom is the only three-time SFL EU champion with two different teams. Defending champion for NIP, but he's got 3 SFL titles under his belt there. So, and they're all involved Street Fighter 6. So he knows how to pick them. I'll tell you that much.
You're not kidding. I really want to see them excel versus the other competitors there, like against the US, against the Japanese team. I really would love to see like how they shine, because as much as I love watching SFL EU, I want to see them now versus against these two other very much so powerhouse and dominant teams, right?
Yeah, they didn't do well last year in terms of the SFL Worlds, so I think Phenom will definitely remember that, and they'll want to kind of move away from that because they underperformed in that environment. I think Angry Bird was holding them up in a couple of occasions. He had some really good exchanges with Kawano in the Akuma Mirror. It just wasn't enough. So hopefully this time round, depending on the performances of Juicy Joe, Angry Bird, and Big Bird, yeah, everyone's there but Phenom in the cup. They will go into that. So Phenom actually has a little bit more time to prepare for the SFL World Championships alone. So that's actually pretty good.
You can say that with like a lot of the players in SFL in general, right? You got like Fudo, Lashar coming into CAPCOM Cup. There's like majority of the team going into CAPCOM Cup, and there's just like one extra player who's just still making it via SFL. But looking at like the way this is composed, right? Team B, you can see it right here. Between these 3 teams, in group stage day 1 and day 2, Team B has the responsibility of having to face twice off against 2 other teams in back-to-back days. They get the doubleheader both days.
They do. Someone had to receive the short end of the stick. Somebody had to do it. And we're going to find out who is going to be the first name here that will be for team match number 1. And that looks like Ninjas in Pajamas. That looks like Ninjas in Pajamas. So they will be up there, ready and waiting for team match number 1, as Vicious said. Team B, whoever this is, the mental stamina's got to be 110% this time around instead of just 100. Oh,
okay. They're gonna be the first ones up against Ninjas in Pajamas. I actually want to see how it played off last year in terms of like SFL again. And that leaves Reject.
Well, remember it was yeah, it was FlyQuest that was there last year with the Kimberly Coalition.
That's what it was, yeah.
That was funny.
That's what it was. Yeah, you're right. So I keep forgetting it was like FlyQuest versus Bandits during the US finals, and that was super heated. Okay, that's what it was. All right. My mistake. But yeah, looking into it right now, Ninjas in Pajamas versus Bandits, Bandits versus Reject, and then Reject versus NIP. Okay. Let me see. Taking a look over at the World Championships.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Jammers.
I like how I like all the players represented here as well. I'm going to mention something. I'm not sure if we're going to get a slide that mentions this, but I will mention it at some point. But yeah, I do like the matchups here, all the players involved. I'm actually curious to see, again, me being biased for 2 seconds, I'm actually curious to see if Ninjas in Pajamas do step it up. What will Juicy Joe's form be heading into this outside of his performance? Because remember, he's got a deadly group to deal with first in CAPCOM Cup. Then he's got to come into this. That's going to be pretty difficult there as well. Angry Bird just as well. All the guys involved in the Cup have got a tall order to not only perform for themselves, but perform for the team. And we've seen this in SFL, each region respectively. and we've heard Rob TV talk about, shout out to Rob TV as well, just the pressure and the magnitude of SFL grows bigger and bigger, and which means the responsibility comes with that, and obviously with great power comes great responsibility. So when you are representing these teams, there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and you don't want to let the team down, especially when the points are so vital, you know?
No, you're not kidding. And you can see a little bit of like a buffer window going into it, right? Friday, group stage, day 1 of SFL. That's going to be like the big day for a lot of the teams to really get acclimated to the competition. And then it comes into group stage day 2 on Sunday. So a little bit of a break, because obviously the big finals are happening on Saturday. But days 1, 2, and 3, when you get to go through phase 1 and phase 2, a lot of the folks, you guys got to be paying attention. If you guys plan to stream, those are your 3 days to do it, right?
Yes, that is very, very true. And of course, yeah, so you kind of want to, I think if you're those players, you kind of want to avoid phase 2. It's easier said than done, but if you avoid phase 2, you can just focus strictly on SFL that day.
For the handful of those that are like involved in it, no, most definitely. It's funny that we're kind of like talking about SFL too. Like when you see how it went down last year in the group stage, like everybody got their W, right? EU beat US, US beat Japan, and then Japan beat EU. It was just a matter of like point accumulation, right? And it was actually pretty close. It was like 40-0, 30-10, 30-10. So it still could have gone either way, and that's kind of insane to think about.
Of course. But yes, do not forget, the tickets are on sale. You can see it right there as well. And if you do get a ticket, there is an exclusive Rashid color, as you can see right there as well. Perfect. Lovely stuff there. A one-day ticket per event is 900 yen, equivalent to 6 USD. And then there is a special color for prepaid tickets for the pay-per-view stuff. Live viewing platform on Spawn now on sale right now, as you can see on the graphic there as well. Perfect. I got clearance to say this. Obviously, this did happen last year as well. It will be a repeat. Let me say this first. That we will be streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Do not forget that. So if you want to tune in on the English stream, it is CAPCOM Fighters on the YouTube or the Twitch channel. And obviously, if you want to watch things, if you are a Japanese viewer and you want to watch it there, it's CAPCOM Fighters Japan or JP, or CAPCOM Fighters _JP as well. And then, of course, we do have Spanish and Portuguese restreams there as well for diversifying our language. So if you're not a native English speaker or native Japanese speaker, you do have a Spanish and Portuguese channels there that you can check out. Co-streaming is allowed for day 1 to day 3 of the event. Please, please, please do not forget that you are allowed to stream that. But then, of course, when we get onto the latter stages of the Capcom Cup event, because it is a week-long celebration, you can actually go and view the finals in the new Battle Hub feature that they put in recently. Now, they are working to make sure this is going to be in tip-top shape, but it is a trial, so it might not be. There might be times where the stream will cut out, so you're going to have to bear with them, because the fact that they even put this in there in the first place is a step in the right direction. Ooh, discount. Hello, I'm a video games player. What's this? Talk to me. What is this, please?
Well, we got all of the big Capcom titles currently on sale for their big Capcom publisher sale. I do know that Street Fighter 6 is also a part of this roster in the US, or at least globally, but this is going to be the discounts going on in Japan specifically for those titles going into it. Obviously, I see DMC on there, big fan of that. Dragon's Dogma, pretty damn sick. And of course, Monster Hunter, that is obviously one of the biggest ones that we could ever ask for. A big discount happening only in Japan right now. But if you guys check it out on Steam right now, you know, Street Fighter 6 is currently $20. I was definitely checking that out the other day. The big Steam sale happening. If you guys want to hop into Street Fighter 6, now is the perfect time. I had already bought both of my nephews 2 copies of the game so they can get into it. So with that said and done, you guys should also be doing the same. The big Capcom publisher sale. There is a summer event happening also. And also, not summer, sorry, but going into spring. I'm actually kind of curious to see what else is going to be happening in the realm of Capcom once Resident Evil comes out. I'm very excited for that. Only a few more days, baby. Only a few more days. What, 5 more days, if I'm not mistaken? I am excited.
No, it's
for that.
it's I think it's like the 26th, 27th, or something like that, or at least in the EU.
Interesting. I thought it was like I thought it was the 19th. To be honest with you, my trip.
Let me. Do you know? I'm gonna look right now.
Okay, please do. No, please do, because I need to make sure I get my dates right. Either way, it's the month of Resident Evil, baby, and I am definitely excited.
February 27th. That's the day. That's the date I've got. February 27th on the Steam page.
Weird.
On my wish list. So either way,
Weird.
it's just under 2 weeks for Resident Evil 9. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know if I should play it when we come back or play it before. I don't know. I'll probably wait. Not to spoil the surprise. It depends on how.
Okay, I'm tripping. It is February 27th. I definitely think there's gonna be like a handful of people that are gonna be like doing their journalist reviews. That's what I saw. They get it a week early, so I'm like, oh, I see. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
All right. Well.
But either way, yo, Jammers, it's been pretty godlike to have you on and also to be a part of the stream. I didn't want to do it too quickly. Didn't want to cut you off, but the producer's like, hey, man, we got to go.
Nah, it's been a wild ride. Hopefully we don't get detention for too long, because that was fun. But now, honestly, big thank you to Aru and Hamako for doing this. This is a very big responsibility, and I'm sure they had fun doing it. But Aru's gonna scold Hamako later. Big thank you to the production team, Yuito, Yudai, everyone there, for making sure things run smoothly. And of course, shout outs to co-commentator, co-host, and I'll be working with him at the Cup very soon, and Vicious. And yeah, we're gonna be having some fun, and it's gonna be CAPCOM Cup 12. It's gonna be another memorable moment. Hopefully, you guys can join us. Will the favorite or a favorite win, or will we see another surprise name joining the pantheon of Street Fighter 6 champions? It's hard to say, but at the end of the day, we're still watching high-level Street Fighter. I like doing it.
Couldn't say it any better than that. In the meantime, hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll see you all in March at CAPCOM Cup.
なかなかのブロックたちがグループができたわけじゃないですか。
まあそうね。いやでも、本当にもっとやばいことになるだろうと思ってたからその、日本勢3名とかはざらにできるんだろうなって1個はできるんだろうなぐらいの、
まあそうね、
思ってたから、30%引けんかって思いながらやってました正直。
そうですね、
逆にね、確率ある程度調べてきたから
強気だね。
そう
今日朝会った時本当に全部引くのって言ったら、いやもう全部確率俺調べてきたからあ、何言われてもいける、
何言われてもいける、
意味わかんない、
何やってんだよって言われてもこれはでも何パーだからまあまあ別にストリートファイターリーガーの投げ抜け率より低いとかそういうことが言えるような、
みんながいろいろ言うからこうなっちゃったんだぞ、理論武装のお化けみたいなよ
それで来てるんで、
はい、
なんですけど思ったより
そうだね、
その点では、その確率通りって言ったらあれですけどね、引けなかったなって
引けなかったと
思ってい
いうところで
つつも、まあでも言うてもでもやっぱ厳しいブロックもできたんで、
まあそうね、
ちょっとそこは本当に内容を注視しつつ楽しんでいければなと、はい思っております。
なのでまあここから選手たちはですね、本腰を入れて、CC に向けてね、いろいろ練習も始まると思いますので、みんなでねもう練習期間から見て、見守って、そして当日を迎えたいと思います、それでは皆様両国国技館でお会いいたしましょう。さよなら。